What is going on? Happy Thursday, right? It is Thursday. It's almost Friday, and tomorrow, it's happy 4th of July weekend. In the same process, a lot of people are probably already starting the festivities. Hell, we probably would too, but at the moment, the show must go on. And the show goes on here at the Ryan Ripken Show, so we appreciate you guys tuning in live with us. We're always live on YouTube, X, and Facebook. We still got a lot to talk about here to get you ready to have a great stinking weekend. And maybe there's some surprises that you'll get. And maybe you'll hear from an Oriole that, I don't know, maybe had some big news recently this past 24 hours. But what's on the docket for today? The All-Star starters were announced. We're going to break all of that down and a lot more. And then we have a special guest, Keith Law, one of the best prospect guys out there. He's going to join us, talk about trade options, prospects, and then maybe a little sneak preview at the MLB draft, which is coming up in just a matter of 10 days. We're right then and there. And then finally, we'll riff and raff, talk about the American League, National League. History was made last night in the National League by Clayton Kershaw, reaching a number that we're not going to see many pitchers accomplish with longevity and success. And then maybe we'll get a little bit freaky with, or at least with our mind. That didn't sound right. Wash that from it. It's Conspiracy Thursday that Zach has something cooking up here. That and a whole lot more. But you're probably wondering, where's Zach? Well, he's not in studio, but he is behind the curtain. Zach, that was almost as bad as a segue as yours, but not as bad. How you doing?
It would take a lot to be as bad as I was that day, but feeling good. What a lovely Thursday. Everyone's gearing up for a 3-day weekend, a nice holiday weekend. So what a fun time. Great day to talk some ball.
Yeah, it's always fun. We always like to have fun. We've had a great week of having fun here, by the way, right, Zach? We kicked it off.
Yeah.
Eddie Dave was in here making cocktails. Then yesterday, Kyle and the Iron Rooster was getting us right. Now today, we don't have any of that in the studio, but we have a great personality that you guys can share with us and with you and everything in between, right? It's all about smiles today, but I actually might take a shot. Anyway, Zach, opening thoughts before we jump really into this. Anything you want to talk about? Thoughts on
I knew it wasn't going to happen. Still disappointed Jackson Holiday didn't get the starting second baseman, just because I thought that would have been cool for everything he went through. I know we're going to get into it. Shout out Ryan O'Hearn. No one more deserving. I mean, he talked about it with us just a year ago, how he's on the golf course, just got traded to Baltimore for cash considerations, gets a phone call from Mike Elias. He's like, oh, all right, about to get welcome to the team. Mike's like, hey, we're designating you for assignment. Like, surprise. Don't know, doesn't make the team out of camp. All of a sudden, flash forward 2 years, American League, starting all-star. It's hard not to root for him.
Yeah, he was one of the best stories of the All-Star starters being revealed. And why don't we start with that? Ryan O'Hearn is going to be the American League 2025 starting designated hitter. And yes, I understand. They can say, well, Rafael Devers could have been the one leading the charge, and Rafael Devers is a great player. But guess what? He got shipped out to the National League, which opened a giant opportunity. And make no mistake, Ryan O'Hearn is having an all-star caliber season. And and even last year was up for consideration. It just was such a log jam position. But the voting came out, Zach, and I think this was the cool part. Ryan O'Hearn won 78% of the voting.
Just going to say.
Amazing all around. But why don't we hear from the man first, Ryan O'Hearn's reaction after he was told he is going to be an all-star representing the Baltimore Orioles. Zach, let's play that clip.
A journey in my career, and for the majority of it, I never thought something like this was in the cards. So Still kind of in shock and just humbled.
It is humbling. We're going to play the other clip in a second that Zach was alluding to about him being DFA'd. And for those that don't know what DFA means, it means designated for assignment. So to be on the big league team, right, you have to be on the 40-man roster to be called up from the minor leagues. And to be in the big leagues, you have to be a part of the 40-man roster. Now, only 26 can be in the big leagues at one time, right? So essentially, Ryan O'Hearn was put on the 40-man roster and thought that, all was going to be good. And then, Zach, I'll play the clip now. He thought, hey, welcome to Baltimore. Well, welcome back to the business of baseball, Ryan O'Hearn. And here's that clip.
And then my first conversation with Mike, I was playing golf, and I get a phone call. It's like Baltimore number. I'm like, here we go. It's the GM. He's gonna, welcome me to the team. And then his first 3 words were like, hey, Ryan, we're gonna have to designate you.
Don't you love the business?
And then I went through the whole couple weeks in Norfolk and just the whole deal. At that point, it's like you're almost numb to it. It's like your hopes of what you think is gonna happen, it's clear that you're not in control. So you just go into how can I make the best of this mode?
So right there, it's the business side of that's how it works sometimes, right? Ryan O'Hearn hadn't talked to anyone with Baltimore. He got the news. Hey, you're going to be an Oriole. The O's are picking you up for cash considerations, and cash considerations, not all heroes wear capes, if you know what I mean. How many times that guy's gone from place to place. But you think, all right, I'm going to get the lay of the land. And the first thing you hear is, well, you might not be here long, essentially, is what he's saying. Now, no one picked up O'Hearn. He gets the assignment, goes to Norfolk, and he talked about just understanding there's so much he can't control, but what he can control, Zach, is how he goes about it every day. And he couldn't find it in Kansas City, couldn't get going. But in 2023, when he started off in Norfolk, down in Folktown, baby, go Tides, he waited for an opportunity. And when he got the call up to Baltimore, he didn't look back. And when you're looking about being deserving, no one is more deserving of being an all-star than Ryan O'Hearn.
Yeah, and Ryan, isn't it funny we always talk about never giving up on players and how baseball's hard, and some guys, there have been guys, Charlie Morton talked about, he's been doing this and he's almost had a career revival in the back half of his career. Talked about, I didn't feel comfortable I really belonged until year 7, 8. That's why I finally figured, okay, I'm figuring this out. If you look back, at this point, 6 years ago, 5, 6 years ago, the Kansas City Royals were platooning 2 guys because they were they're really not, their entire game's not there. But maybe if you put them together, they're a half decent. And Ryan O'Hearn refers to it in that interview we had. He's like, we used to joke about, with each other, together we make a pretty good ball player. The 2 guys, Ryan O'Hearn, and Brent Rooker. 2 guys, Brent Rooker, 2023 All-Star, Ryan O'Hearn, 2025 All-Star. It takes time, and sometimes it's just a change of scenery. And these guys that just grind and grind and grind. He talked about, he's like, at some point you become numb to it, but you just have to put your head down and keep going. And that's what they did. It after all they've been through, just platoon bats. They get their next opportunity, and both of them, is every opportunity they had, they fought, they got to where they wanted to be. And, so many of these people, here's the example. Heston Kjerstad. So many people ready to ship him off. He's got nothing. Kyle Stowers, Connor Norby, Joey Ortiz, all these young guys that weren't getting shots here. And it's clearly they didn't have it figured out in the first 100 at bats. Clearly they're not great at baseball. They can't make it in the majors. Sometimes it takes years. I don't think anybody's questioning in 2025 if Ryan O'Hearn deserves to be in a major league clubhouse. 4 years ago, maybe there were questions, but everyone takes different times to develop and get in the right opportunity.
Yeah, it's it's something I've tried to tell people from the longest time. I think since you and I started doing stuff together, right? My goal is to make people understand that baseball is so freaking hard. And we have this persona, which is different than any other sport, in my opinion, that you're going to hit the ground running and become a star. Because when you look to other sports where you see instant stardom, and it doesn't happen all the time because we've seen evolution of players. But look, we've seen guys go from college football into the NFL and already become superstars from the get-go. And I mean superstars. And you can name a list of them. I'll name a few. Jamar Chase, Micah Parsons, Saquon Barkley, just to name a couple, right? You know, C.J. Stroud had the best rookie season recently, if we're going to go there. Odell Beckham Jr., you know? Brian Thomas Jr. last year for the Jaguars. Like, great players, great seasons, right? Like, I could continue to go on and on. The NBA can have some depending on their age, you know, but guys develop. But baseball is that one sport where a guy can become a star at 28. You know, that to me is the concept I want people to understand here, you know, because it's the path of how you get to where you want to go. You know, I'll even, because I just thought about here's some of the anomalies. They ended up being Hall of Famers. Ken Griffey Jr., my dad being another one. Gosh, trying to go through it. I remember seeing stuff with A-Rod had struggles to start, then he got going. But when we're saying this list, we're talking about some of the best players that ever played the game. We're just talking about guys that can be stars in the game right now. So it's a really cool thing to see for Ryan O'Hearn. And just to wrap that up here, I want to show you who else is in the American League rotation of players, because I'm not going to say there was like full surprises. Maybe there is actually one, I will say. And shout out the Tigers. They are the best team in the American League, so they deserve a lot of recognition. Gleyber Torres wins that spot at second base, Zach. Riley Green out there in left field. One of the surprises, Jacob Wilson. Not saying a surprise that he's there. He deserves it.
I'm glad that happened.
Yeah, like it's because that the voting was against Bobby Witt Jr. and Zach. I think you and I have the same thing. I thought that the fans were going to vote Bobby Witt Jr. over Jacob Wilson because of household name.
And exactly. That's the biggest fear with the, all-star voting is that a guy like Jacob Wilson, who is having the best season of a shortstop in the American League, Bobby Witt Jr. is Bobby Witt Jr. And, that he's top 30 in the MVP voting last year. Like, he's one of the young stars of the game. A lot of people going through their ballots, click this guy, Bobby Witt Jr., click him, go down. Wasn't the case. I mean, Jacob Wilson earned his spot. I think the guy that you're going to say is a very interesting pick, and I don't think anyone saw that one coming, especially in his position. Starting center fielder beating out Mike Trout. I'm sure we all saw it coming before the season. Javier Baez.
I mean, not even just beating out Mike Trout. You're looking at a guy in Byron Buxton that also is having an unbelievable year. Byron Buxton's hitting almost 280, 19 jacks, and an OPS almost at 900, right? So, there's other options there. But, of course, like everyone did, the March Madness, you have to have the complete bracket. No one had this on their bingo card, even midway through, of who those starters would be. Now, ones that are no surprise, Big Dumper, Cal Raleigh behind the dish is lighting it up. Vlad Guerrero Jr., one of the premier bats, one of the best first baseman, offensive players in the game. And obviously Aaron Judge. I mean, he won the popular vote. He's the best overall hitter in the game right now of what he's doing. It all makes sense. Jose Ramirez holding it down on third base, just Mr. Consistency over there representing the Guardians. So great for all that. All right, go ahead.
I was going to say real fast, just talk about Jose Ramirez. I saw a tweet. This is probably a month ago at this point, and it's so true. Jose Ramirez is on an 8-year streak of every single season being a top 4 to top 8 player in baseball. And unfortunately, because he's in Cleveland and, he's not the quote unquote superstar, or he doesn't get the recognition, like he just flies under the radar. Jose Ramirez is going to be in Canton one day, and it's just going to be one of the most underrated careers of all time. I think he has an opportunity pretty soon to get 300 for stolen bases. And yeah, so he's at 264 career stolen bases, 268 career home runs already. So, I mean, he's with a career 856 OPS. I mean, he's just the model of how can you put a guy that will consistently year after year be a top 10 player and somehow not get the recognition. He's been that guy. I mean, we've talked to, people in Cleveland, and they refer to him almost in the same way as LeBron is, the way that, they talk about bringing the city together. It's like their guy. He's there for Cleveland. He's Cleveland's guy. He's not going anywhere.
Yeah. I mean, Joe Noga with Cleveland.com,
yeah.
Right? He made that comparison. Again, not comparing that
not skill.
Not skill that he is LeBron James, but he said the impact to that team has that essence. You take Jose Ramirez off the Guardians, the impact not just on the field of what he means to that organization is felt there and throughout the city, which I thought is very telling and also a really big compliment to what Jose Ramirez has accomplished there as a Cleveland Guardian. And one thing I want to say to close this American League, because then our guest is going to join us and we'll talk about the National League on the other side. But I like, Zach, that there is a little bit of parity here. But what I mean by parity, it's the Tigers are having a great season. You're the best team in the league or in the American League, and you're having guys getting rewarded. And Riley Green hitting 296, 21 jacks. Amazing. Like, that is an all-star. But what's even cooler is he got voted in on the best team. I think that that's a cool component there. You are on the best team, and you are going to start in the game. Shout out for the Tigers right there. They have 3, and depending on who gets the ball to start the game, it could be Scooble.
Yeah,
4 guys starting this game for the Tigers, but well-deserved. It's fantastic. And I'm, again, over ecstatic for Ryan O'Hearn. It's a memory and moment, Zach, that he will never forget, and you never know what's going to happen in baseball. You don't know if you're ever going to have those types of situations again, but for this moment, Ryan O'Hearn, just like any kid growing up, Zach, like for me even playing, I always dreamed of getting to the big leagues, accomplish those things, be an all-star, try to win a World Series, right? Game 7, all of those things. No guarantee that you're going to get any of them. But when you get to accomplish one of those, and you probably, Ryan O'Hearn would agree, 2 or 3 years ago, did he ever think that he'd be back ever in this position? Probably not. And that's what makes this even that much more special. So shout out him. And shout out all you guys. Happy July 3rd. If you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. Ryan Ripken Show. Do it live every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday on YouTube, X, and Facebook, right? And we also put it out on the audio platforms or podcast platforms, wherever you listen to after the show. But we allow you to interact while we're doing this thing live. And gosh, you know what? And baseball doesn't sleep, by the way, Zach.
No.
And I mean, and I know this, and our next guest, he knows this as well. He's been around the game for a long time. And who we might be talking to tomorrow, Zach, when they say, oh, the 4th works, they don't look at it as, oh, you mean it's a holiday, I'm not working. No. It's not how this goes in the baseball world. And Keith, if you're ready, just give me a thumbs up when you're ready to rock and roll. Perfect. Really excited to get to talk to a man that you have read his blogs, articles, posts, seen him on TV throughout the years. And he has some of the best insight when it comes to prospects, draft, and all of baseball around. But you can get his articles on The Athletic. Let's bring on Keith Law. Keith.
How you doing? I'm good. How about you?
Doing well. So you're on the road, if I'm not mistaken, right? You were telling me you were.
I'm actually home today.
You're home?
I was up at Lehigh Valley last night. Probably got a bunch of games over the weekend. Then next week, obviously, we're heading into the draft, the futures game. It's going to be nuts. So this day turns out to be perfect.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you being flexible. And maybe just to start this off real quickly, since you've been around the game for a while, and I always like to ask players that have gone through the minor leagues, if they have a minor league story, and if you don't have something right now, if you have one story or moment through all the years of covering that sticks out to you, and if you don't have one right now, oh, you do?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh, let me hear.
It would have been 2008, I guess. I was at the area code games, which at the time were in Blair Field out in Long Beach, California. For folks who don't know, it's one of the main summer showcase events for high school players. The players are picked by scouts. They don't have to pay to attend. So it is very much based on talent. And you generally get players from all across the country. It's a little more West Coast focused. And it tends to be rising seniors. Every once in a while, you get an underclassman who's so talented. I remember one year, Dylan Bundy and Archie Bradley were both on the Midwest team as underclassmen because they were just that good. And so we're all sitting there, there's probably 200 scouts at the time, a couple of us writers, me, some guys from Baseball America, et cetera. And all of a sudden, an underclassman is coming up to the plate. And, you don't pay a ton of attention because it's like, I got time, right? That guy's 3 years down the road. And I look, and this guy's literally 3 years from the draft. And he takes one swing and it's whack. It is so loud. You see everyone's heads turn up. And it was a 15-year-old at the time named Bryce Harper, who I don't think anybody really knew who he was. Some people will claim they knew the name before them, but that was the coming out party. That day, that event, where I don't think he actually homered, but he did just about everything else. And he was still, you probably know this, but he was still catcher at the time too. So we get him behind the plate. He's got an elite arm. He's hitting for power. He's hitting the ball all over the field. And you look at the body too, 15. Oh my God, this guy's going to be a monster when he fills out. And I mean, it's one of the best parts of the job is to see guys like that on a stage where they first become big names. And I've never seen anything. I've certainly never seen a player that young who was that talented and was the best player on the field despite being the youngest by about 2 years.
There was the legend of Bryce Harper before he became a legend in the big leagues and the pros, right? And that's exactly what you're alluding to. I remember reading articles about this teenager.
Yeah.
When I was still, I think Bryce is a year older than me now or two. But I'm like, okay, how good could this kid be? And then if you don't believe me, you don't believe Keith. Well, go watch the tape. But also his junior college year when he was getting ready to be drafted, wood bat, hit 30 jacks, Keith, and
set all kinds of records. It was crazy. Man among boys, except he was 17. So he was one of the boys. He was the youngest player on his team on the field by 2 years, and he was clearly the best player every time they played.
That is, and only a few can say that. But and to be honest, right, Keith, in this case, it's also with all those expectations and the talent, doesn't mean it's always going to work out.
Right.
But when you see it, it happens. And another guy that I would talk about really toolsy talent-wise, I played in the Under Armour game in 2011 summer going into 2012.
Mm-hmm.
And the center fielder on the opposing team was Byron Buxton.
Yeah. God.
And tools, right?
Oh, as toolsy as anybody I've ever scouted.
And all I'm thinking when I see him in the bigs, when people go, oh, he's not that good or he doesn't have the skills, to go, okay, I'm going to disagree with you. If he doesn't pan out to be whatever, but when he plays and he's healthy, he's really good. I go, what's his weakness? I go, when he's healthy, there isn't really a weakness with Byron Buxton. And so those things stick with you, right? And you've been doing this now. How many years of this now, Keith?
If you count when I was with the Blue Jays, this is my 24th year in baseball, which is crazy. It's almost half my life in the industry. I mean, I'm very lucky. Obviously, I get to do this for a living. Every day I wake up and it's like, I like my job. Not a lot of people can say that.
No, they can't. And the reason why you still can do it for a living is because you've been really good at what you do, evaluating and really bringing so much insight, right? My job here, I cover things in the baseball season and we cover things during football, but Ripken baseball backbone, that's what I like to like to talk about. So let's talk about right now coming about with prospects and kind of the idea of prospects trades. And we'll start in Baltimore because there is one name that continues to be talked about. And maybe because there's a carousel of catchers because of all the injuries, and he hasn't made his way up here, and that's Sam Basayo, who, when we talk about men amongst boys right now, he still is only 20 years old. Yeah. Really toolsy. But I'm curious on your take and evaluation for him and how you would view his development process. Because one thing I think that we would both agree on, whenever the time he does come up, you have to commit to playing this guy every day.
Yes.
That's the one thing I'm not sure of. But give me your take on Mr. Basayo as an overall prospect.
So there's kind of two parts to him where, related to what you were just saying about committing to play him every day, right? Samuel Basayo, the hitter, is the guy who raced to AAA, right? He's just too advanced, particularly his approach, his ball strike recognition, a lot of his decisions, when to swing. That is why he's in AAA at age 20. He's one of the youngest players there. He is hitting for power. He is getting on base at a really good clip. He is not striking out excessively, which is, really at this point, the number one thing I look at as hitters move up the ladder. 'Cause pitching everywhere, but especially as you get to the higher minors, they're really good pitchers who, even if they're not good enough to be in the big leagues, but they can do something. A fastball that's hard to hit, a really good breaking ball, elite command. I mean, you see Jacob Misiorowski, right? There are guys kind of like him scattered throughout the minors. He's the best of his class, but there are guys who can do things like that. And they make you miss bats. They miss bats. They make you swing and miss. And when I see a guy like Basayo, who's this young, facing much older pitchers, not swinging and missing, that's a huge positive for me. The question on him has always been the position. I am in the camp that says he can catch. He can really throw. And I think he's fine behind the plate. I think he needs work like almost all young catchers do, right? Very few catchers are really that advanced at age 20, 21 to come up and do all of the things that a major league everyday catcher is expected to do. Also, the Orioles have a pretty good catcher. So they have started playing Basayo a bit more at first base. And I don't have a clear answer to this question, but it's kind of, what do you want? Do you want him to stay as a catcher where obviously he's more valuable, but you can't play both? Or do you say this guy's bat is going to be so good that we would like him to be our first baseman of the future? I mean, I guess you could also say the same for Rutschman. I don't think anybody's discussing that. But I could very clearly see a future where Basayo is the long-term first baseman, and maybe he catches once a week, once every 2 weeks, because he can. But you like the bat so much, you want to move him out to a position where you get him in the lineup another 20 or 30 games a year.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing, right? With the catching position, what's being asked behind the dish, right, is command a pitching staff, be that stopgap behind the plate that pitchers feel comfortable throwing to. They have a good understanding of what you want to do. You're a threat to throw guys out, and then if you're an offensive catcher, it's a bonus. Like, then you're a superstar. Yeah. That's why, like Adley, right? He was such a high prospect because he was really good at so many things. And then the offensive upside there was looked at as a bonus. Like what Cal Raleigh's doing is unbelievable, but that's not what catchers do. Right. But I'm with you on that with Sam then. So in that case, you're saying, hey, if you want to develop, because right now Adley will be back and Gary's there at the moment, and they still have Ryan O'Hearn. If you're talking about playing first base,
right,
something's going to have to give to open up this avenue for Sam. I'm assuming that, and this is maybe an obvious thing, but we have to just say it out loud. No way you would ever think about trading Basayo right now if you're Baltimore.
And not where they are in the standings, right? If they were contending and they said, we need a number one starter, I don't even know who that would be right now. Yeah. Let's say hypothetically, you've got a chance to get a number one starter this July who you'd maybe keep through the end of next year. That's the one situation where I would consider it. They're just not there. And I think the most likely scenario here is they trade Ryan O'Hearn, which they should. He's a free agent after the season. He is on a very affordable contract anyway. So either someone can take on the little money he's still owed, or the Orioles can just say, we'll pay it because we want to get a better prospect in return. And then maybe you consider calling Basayo up to mostly play first base the rest of the year, but get maybe a little bit of him behind the plate also, just to kind of help him get his feet wet, works with the pitching staff, but it's a low pressure situation. I mean, no Orioles fans want them to be in the situation they're in the standings, but you got to make, if you're Mike Elias and company, you got to make the best of it. How do we develop some players in the big league environment the last 2 months of the season with the hopes of returning to contention again in 2026? And I think getting Basayo up and getting him 150 plate appearances somewhere is a big part of that. Even if you don't think he's on the opening day roster next year, when he does come up, he'll be able to come up for good, and he'll already have some experience under his belt, so he can start making some of the adjustments that everybody has to make when they first get to the big leagues.
Yeah, right before you came on, I was discussing with the grouper, Zach and I were talking about, in baseball, unlike any other sport, the development of how a guy becomes a star. There's no blueprint of when, if he ever does. Ryan O'Hearn's becoming an all-star, and we share the same birthday, so he's in his 30s, right? You have Brent Rooker was also on that same team with Ryan O'Hearn on the bench in Kansas City, and you go somewhere else. Starting pitchers sometimes don't get it together. Charlie Morton mentioned that he felt like he was figuring things out in 2017 after he'd already been in the big leagues for a decade.
Yep.
Everyone does a different path. Jackson Holliday, people thought he was going to be Gunnar Henderson and be one of the top players in baseball the minute he stepped onto a big league field. And that's not fair to him. And that's also shows you how pretty hard the major leagues is, right, Keith? So with that then, because you know a thing or two about prospects. So let's just look around then with this whole trade deadline situation. And not just with Baltimore, just say with anyone. Is there pieces to you that would be really intriguing? Say if a team was trying to reload, if it was Baltimore, somebody else, that you're like, I'm really high on this guy and he could make an impact for a ball club in the next couple of years.
Well, I think if the question is, I know you said not just Baltimore, but we can certainly we can start there at least, right? If I am in Elias's, say, inner circle and he's asking my advice, which to be clear, he's not. But if he were, I would say, look, we want to get the best possible return whoever we trade, whenever, if we're doing it at the trade deadline with an O'Hearn where the clock is ticking, if we're doing it this offseason, because we just think we have to make room for other players because they do still have kind of a position player surplus that they're going to have to work through. They should prioritize major league ready pitching, hopefully not at the expense of overall value. Don't take less just to try to get some pitching in. But I would also say they could look at veteran major league pitchers, even though they're not contending this year, they're not going to the playoffs this year, but they could look at someone like, say, a Mitch Keller, who still has a couple of years. He signed a contract extension, but the Pirates might just look at their situation and say, he's expendable. I don't know for a fact that he's available. I've heard rumors.
Yeah.
But he's the kind of guy where you get multiple years of control. The Orioles believe a lot in their player development, which includes at the major league level. Maybe they can help him even make another improvement, although he's done quite a bit so far. Pittsburgh's done a great job with pitcher development. That's the guy where maybe you are giving up some prospects or even a young major leaguer. The Pirates really desperately need offense. The Orioles desperately need starting pitching. That might be a situation where you can match up and you're getting a player who's not a rental. So he still helps you. He's under contract through 2028. So he still helps you for what you would like to think is your window of contention. Mm-hmm. And hopefully you're trading away players who you might really like. Maybe Kobe Mayo is one of them, but it hasn't worked out for him so far. And you might say, look, we have other players at the positions that Kobe Mayo can play. So he does become surplus. It's not even saying you don't think he's good. Just maybe this is a guy we trade, cash in on him now to go get things we particularly need to return to contention next year. Because to me, there's nothing everything you do right now has to be geared towards, we are trying to win in 2026. 2025 didn't work out. Fine. We believe the roster we bring back is going to be better next year. How do we supplement that? and try to get back to the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, that's the goal. The Orioles' expectation should be to win the AL East in 2026. It should be to contend to try to get to the World Series for the first time since 1983. Why? They do have a lot of young talent, and you're hoping Kyle Bradish and Grayson Rodriguez are healthy. That obviously helps. And then, yeah, that was the one thing. If the Orioles were to go get prospects or sell, the other option I did like was the veterans. You mentioned Keller. I mean, I'm still really curious on a different note. I don't think the Orioles will do this, but what happens with Sandy in Miami? You know, how much hold him? I feel like that's got to be a king's ransom. I know the numbers aren't maybe where they are, but everyone knows the contract's friendly. You know the talent is still there in its first year back from Tommy John. So, you know, it's the question marks, right? But that's what makes this fascinating. This is everyone's favorite month for all the ones that wanted to make the trades 4 months ago. Keith, This is their month. And it keeps you busy. Also, you know, keeps you busy as we wrap up. The final thing I want to talk to you about was the MLB draft.
Sure.
So I know that keeps you busy.
Right now, more than anything else.
Oh, my goodness. Well, actually, in this case, so I'll finish with a question, but Zach behind the scenes has a question that I think all Oriole fans, Zach, if you want to come on for a second.
Yeah. Hey, Keith, thanks for joining. Real quick, so obviously we talked about Sam Basayo, and, you know, the Orioles do have guys like Mayo, Kerstead, Basayo still kind of with upside, but they don't necessarily have that in the next year or two big pitching prospect. Orioles have 3 first-round picks with the compensatory round. They have not drafted a pitcher in the first round since 2018. So I have to ask, what are the chances looking like that we see a pitcher somewhere with those 3 picks? And is there maybe a guy or two that you look at in that range that you're like, hey, if he's there, this would be a good spot for Baltimore to go?
So I don't think they're doing it at with their first pick, which I think is 19 or so.
Yes.
So I haven't heard that. Baltimore doesn't really talk. Some teams are a little more transparent about their direction, but based on what other teams are saying, everyone kind of expects them to take their kind of hitter. Probably a college hitter in this draft. There are a couple of high school guys I think could potentially fit. So it's much more likely to me. I feel like they have something like 6 picks in the top 100. They have a lot of picks. Somewhere in there, they'll take a pitcher. And they have done that. Mike Elias just seems to be philosophically against leading off his draft with a pitcher. He has had bad experiences with that. Brady Aiken, Mark Capel, Forrest Whitley. He's not going there. And to me, that's fine. First of all, you have to hit on your first round pick, because I've seen that Aberdeen grew a ton this year. And their draft class from last year looks like a complete bust right now. I'm not saying it'll end up that way, but just today, it's bad. So you got to hit that first round pick, but this is the perfect year to mix it up a little bit. There's quite a bit of college pitching depth. They're not taking a high school guy high, ever. I just think they could do it much later in the draft. But at those extra picks, 31, 32 or so, second round, third round, those extra picks, there will be quality college pitchers who fit some of the things that the Orioles do like in terms of pitch shapes, in terms of the modeling that they do, which is not really how I like to think about players, but that's their process. And so just to give you names, I'm not saying I've ever heard them linked specifically to the Orioles, but guys who would fit. It's Anson from LSU, and I'm just momentarily blanking on Anthony Anson from LSU, who you might have seen. He started the game that they won. He didn't close. Chase Shores closed it out. But he was the starter in game 2 against Coastal Carolina. Grades out particularly well, kind of across the board in pitch shapes. He's had a real breakout season, taken a big step forward, where I think it kind of fits both sides. Scouts really like him, but also he scores well on the R&D side. They could take somebody like Michael Lombardi at Tulane, who's a two-way guy this year, great athlete. He's a prospect on the mound, much more than he is as a hitter. He doesn't have a ton of experience or a ton of mileage on the arm, but again, what comes out is really good. The breaking stuff is particularly tantalizing, where he might have some pitches right now that'll miss bats and let him move relatively quickly, at least to the high minors. I always say, once you get a guy to AA, what happens from there, it's going to be adjustments all the way up. But your college guys, you should look at them and say, this guy's in AA inside of a year. That's the guy you want to take high. And the last one I'll mention is J.D. Thompson, who's a lefty at Vanderbilt. who, again, it's these characteristics. He has a bat missing fastball. He's got kind of a lower release height. It's got good carry. It stays up. Hitters swing right below it. I have seen it. He's got a really good changeup. The day I actually saw him, he just didn't have feel for it, but I have access to video. I talked to other scouts. His changeup is his best secondary pitch. There's a big league starter in there, and I actually don't think he's that far away. I haven't heard him anywhere up in the first round. I kind of think he's borderline first rounder. So if the Orioles were to pop him with one of those compensatory picks, I would say it's a home run.
Yeah.
See, I'm glad you mentioned what happened with Elias when he was in Houston. The Brady Aiken throwback, that just opened my eyes because I remember that whole situation, right? Yeah. Even with Mark too. I mean, like there were situations, and if you get burned, it makes you not want to do that again. But you're right. Whoever it may be, hit on the pick. You got to hit on whatever the pick's going to be because it will open up more avenues moving forward. And if it's up at the top where you feel like it's a surefire, then, hey, that's great. Then you make a decision and you move on. The Orioles overall, their top picks, Cowser looks to have paid out. Jordan Westberg, Gunnar, and Adley in the same draft, first and second round picks, right? Like there's some good things there. So you hope to hit. Now to close this out, since we talk about Baltimore, I think they're going to hit on Jackson Holiday, Keith. I have a lot of faith in him.
I do too. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the pedigree. His dad, Matt, was in the studio here, Keith. I heard it.
That's great.
The father-son road trip, Zach, right? And then,
Matt
parked one on the second deck, which, because he's Matt Holliday and he still looks in great shape.
He really does. It's crazy.
There's something that they're doing out there in Oklahoma.
Yeah, Stillwater, Oklahoma's got something we don't know about.
All of Oklahoma. There's 3 high school shortstops in Oklahoma. 2 are going in the top 10 picks, and there's a third. If he's willing to sign, he may go to college. But Carson Brumbaugh, this poor kid, you're the 3rd best high school shortstop in Oklahoma this year. Well, the other 2 are sons of big leaguers who happen to be super talented. But Oklahoma was great. I was in Oklahoma twice this year. I hadn't been in a decade. Now it's like I can't stop going there.
It's the place where you go to find talented shortstops. It sounds
apparently so. Yeah.
One of those is Jackson's brother, Ethan Holiday. And look, I know, and for people, you got to check out all the work that Keith does, but Ethan Holiday, Nats are on the clock. Are we seeing Ethan go right down the road if you had that pick to bring him in, or are you going to go in a different direction if you were Mike Rizzo?
So I've had Ethan, still do, first on my board.
Mm-hmm.
But I've said for a while now, but I have said multiple times this spring, it's pretty close. There's about 4 or 5 guys you could put first, and I'm not going to argue. Yeah. What's going to end up happening with the Nationals, they're going to do this the right way. They're going to have their short list. Probably by draft day, it's 3 or 4 guys. They'll negotiate with several of them and try to get the best deal, because I don't think anybody has separated themselves at all this year. I love Liam Doyle. I really like Kate Anderson. Ivar Arquette, Oregon State is super intriguing. Holiday's got some questions. I don't really love the swing mechanically. It's not Jackson's swing, but he's got more power. He's a way better defender than anybody gave Ethan credit for, too. I don't know why everyone's, this guy can't play shortstop. I don't know. It's pretty good to me. And his hands are great. And if you got great hands like that, the industry can do a lot of things. It may be that they end up looking to save $1 million and just take somebody else because they don't see a ton of separation here. I think Ethan ends up in that mix. And I'm sure Mike loves to take the famous guys, right? There's nobody more famous in this draft class than Ethan Holiday. I think he could very easily be the pick, but it's not going to be for full slot value, which I think is $11 million, that first pick. They're going to look to save some money so that they can get creative later and go get some other first round, probably high school talents, second round, third round, further on down.
Just to finish this up, you say then with Ethan that you're saying you can make the case for 4 or 5 players, but there's a little bit of a difference you're saying with him and Jackson. And Jackson for the draft too wasn't the consensus number one.
He was not
either, right? It was a list of guys, but you still have Ethan as your top rated. Is it just because of the upside, despite you can say, hey, we're worried about it, just the upside that Ethan possesses as a player?
Yes. If it all clicks, and like I said, there are things about him at the plate where he's kind of going soft on the front side. He can leak a little bit. I mean, I'm not the only person to see this stuff, but this is also a kid who's, first of all, the family. People rave about the kid as a worker, as ability to learn. He is very, very athletic. I always trust those really athletic kids to be able to make physical adjustments. Somebody's just helping them put your hands here, your feet here. They're just more able to do that stuff. Unlike people like me who could barely get down the stairs safely. So in Ethan's case, yeah, we can see what these things are, but if it clicks and he really does stay at shortstop, it's a 25 homer bat at short with good plate discipline, right? That is a hell of a player. In Jackson's year, we're going to end up rewriting that one and say, yeah, he probably was one of the 2 or 3 best players in the draft class. What ended up, Drew Jones was probably the closest thing we had to a consensus 1-1, and he has not worked out at all. His swing is a mess. He's been hurt a lot. And I don't think he has Jackson's and Ethan's just incredible instincts for the game too. That's a tough thing to scout. It's part of makeup. But when you have that kind of acumen, that ability to learn that apparently the whole Holiday family has. I said to Matt, you have any more sons? Could you have some more? Like, they seem to work out okay. We'll take them all.
Yeah, seriously. And then Keith Law is going to get permanent residence, or at least residency in Oklahoma.
In Oklahoma, yes. Yeah. They came down to Oklahoma City too, because Stillwater is, let's just say it's not my favorite place. Oklahoma City's great. I hung out there for a couple of days. I was there a different time to see OU play for Kyson Witherspoon against Kate Anderson. So I was like, yeah, it's pretty cool. I could hang out in Oklahoma City for a bit. Stillwater's a little rural for me.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of great things about Oklahoma City. I got invited out there. I mean, hey, their basketball team, Thunder, they just won 2.
They did okay, huh? Yeah. Right downtown, too. Yep.
Yeah, not bad.
Great spot.
Well, hey, Keith, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you coming on today. This has been amazing for so many reasons. But above all, I appreciate your time. I know you're moving and grooving. I'm finally glad you're home for a little bit. I know where to find you, but for everything you're doing upcoming, where can people find your work? Where can people look and tune into you as we get closer to the MLB draft?
Sure. So I'm on The Athletic. All my baseball content will be there, will continue to be there. We've got a bunch of stuff coming, a couple more mock drafts, some more scouting reports on guys off the top 100. And then once the futures game happens, the draft gets rolling every day, I'll be churning out some more content, evaluating what I see or who people take. If you want to find me on social, the place I am the most now is Blue Sky, actually. So it's just Keith Law at bsky.social. I have an account on Twitter. I just post links there. If you want to interact, best place to find me are go hit me on Blue Sky or just comment under the articles that I post on The Athletic. And I'm pretty active in both of those spaces.
Perfect. You heard the man. And Keith, thank you again. Enjoy your time. If you go to Oklahoma again, we'll have to get like a little tour and reviews.
There you go. Yes.
I'm planning actually to go there next year. So
there you go. Oh, I got my coffee space. I got a couple food places. I got my routine down. So we're covered.
Perfect. Hey, Keith, thank you. And you have a great rest of your Thursday, and happy 4th of July to you and your family. Okay.
My pleasure. To you as well.
Keith Law, everybody. That was great. That was great.
Fantastic.
Oklahoma, baby. It's got a lot.
They're turning out stars. Oklahoma, the baseball capital of the world.
Baseball capital of the world, and also the new place to buy real estate. It sounds like if you are in the baseball space and looking for talent, right? So,
yeah.
But that was great. And again, Keith has been doing this. I can't believe he's at 24 years of doing this. Really intuitive with all the thoughts and the analysis. And look, right, like the job and responsibility is to assess the players and to look at this. And in these cases, you're going to have to see what happens. This is the crapshoot, but I love hearing the thought process, right? And I love our audience hearing it, Zach, because what's our goal here? Educating people on how this works. And I thought the Sam Basayo situation was very interesting. And there's a lot of things that the Baltimore Orioles are going to have to think of. And Zach, maybe your dream will come true. Maybe the Orioles will take a pitcher.
Maybe. It doesn't sound like at 19. Not sounding like 19, but you think great points about stuff that you don't even really think about when you're thinking, oh, why don't the Orioles take pitchers? If you get burned by the oven so many times, you're not going to go back. Like, Mike Elias watched in Houston. Top pick after top pick after top pick, pitcher not turn out, injuries derail careers, things just happen. So I understand, but I would love picks 30 and 31. I think they need to get at least one collegiate pitcher out of it.
Oh, I think a guy that's been there and a little bit more established and seasoned I agree with that. The part of when you're drafting a high school guy, the upside is you can get a stud, right? And a guy that you can kind of groom. But for most cases, why they look to college is because that grooming has already happened to an extent. Yeah. Like it's not where you have to fully polish them, right? It's they're kind of polished right now. How do we take it to the next level? Or they just turn into such a superstar like Skeens, where you're like, just go out there. And we'll tell you a couple things here, but the talent can speak for itself. And look at Chase Burns too. I mean, he got to the big leagues really quickly. I know he got hit a little bit the other day, and we talked about that with the Red Sox, Zach, but they have more experience is the big part of it. And that's something that you want to keep in mind. That was great. You know what's also great is each and every one of you. So if you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. Ryan Ripken Show. We do this live every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, right here on YouTube, X, and Facebook. One time for the one time. We appreciate all of our people tuning in. I know it's the holidays right now. I know we're celebrating early. Believe me, it's almost a skeleton crew in here. It's just me and Ollie. Ollie is giving me the look that he is.
Yeah, he's like, what the hell?
Yeah. Yeah. And then my brother-in-law said I need to take a shot for the 20,000 subscribers.
I think you do too. I agree. I agree with that.
So I might do that, and then I'll do the fitness challenge after.
Yeah, I think that might be the thing.
Or during it. It'd be great. During it.
I know we didn't plan on talking about, but I mean, it's kind of the talk of baseball world right now.
I think I know where you're going right now.
Luis Ortiz.
Yep. Oh, we're going there. Before we go there, Zach, before we go there, I want to make a quick point because if you guys didn't know this sign's back there. But if you didn't know, and you guys know, this episode is brought to you by our friends over at Merit Clubs. I had to move the logo just because it was blocking Keith's face, and I didn't want to. Block your face, Zach. It's like,
fine.
That's fine.
That happens. That happens.
Yeah. But Merit Clubs down in Cannon, stop traffic. The whole thing is back running. Get the word out. They're back. Now, the pool is always open, and we plan to, I believe, be there next week. So, Zach, just letting you know, if you're there, great. If not, I'm going to be basking in the sun up there doing a show. Maybe I'll throw a wild Kevin Ostreicher into the pool. But Merit Clubs, they're back up and running. So happy for them. The quick turnaround. We obviously did a little promo, and maybe for everyone's humor or pleasure, we can find those clips and we can put those up for you guys at the end of the show, or we can throw them on YouTube in the Discord if you guys haven't seen them, or the ones that follow us, Zach, like they're on social media, X, Instagram at Ryan Ripken Show. You can see Ryan Ripken and his mate. I want to clarify, Zach and I are friends.
I still, when they came out, I was like, I thought we were using a different word, but all right.
Yeah. Sure about that? But
sure about that.
But Merit Clubs, phenomenal. They've been a great sponsor for us, and really excited about what we have moving forward with them. And if you are serious about the wellness challenge or wellness for anything going on with you, look, you don't have to be a member of Merit. When Sean came on, he's like, hey, you want some help? You want some guidance? Hey, just email him. Just email him to ask, and then you can kind of set up a plan. And actually, Zach, when this ends, I might just do for the channel members.
Get a little circuit going?
Well, that circuit that he gave me. I'm going to complete it right after. Take that and rewind it back. Little John got the beat to make your booty go. Yeah. So
there we go.
That is the plan. I'm going to do Sean's workout. He said it would take 10 to 15 minutes. Whammy.
Love it.
And if you're looking for just advice, insight, there's Sean's email right there, sdoyle@meritclubs.com for more details. He's glad to give you a free consultation courtesy of the Ryan Ripken Show. So when I move, you move, Zach.
Just like that.
Just like that. So we got to talk about Luis Ortiz now, okay?
Yeah.
And clarify, this isn't Luis F. Ortiz, is it?
No. That's a joke about, Luis Castillo when we acquired Luis F. Castillo. Okay, I was making sure.
I know. Just because Laura said it. I know Luis Castillo, Luis F. Castillo, they're two different pitchers. It's also a different last name. I know. I made a bad joke, okay?
It's okay. You know what? We forgive you. We forgive you.
Do you? Okay. Well, do you think MLB is going to forgive Luis Ortiz for this ordeal? Can you explain what's happening?
Yeah, so we'll see. Guardians pitcher Luis Ortiz earlier today was put on, I believe, he is under investigation for gambling, and he was placed on paid leave by MLB earlier today amid a league investigation. So pretty much there were two pitches that triggered the investigation, and one happened on June 15th, another on June 27th. Pretty much both pitches were just sliders, as uncompetitive as you can get in the other's batters box. The one of them literally went to the backstop. It was so uncompetitive. And it was flagged in a few states for, I guess they believe maybe something along the lines of first pitch, ball or strike. And apparently a popular bet or something that was being placed that day was along the lines of the first pitch of that inning. The one was the first pitch of the game. The other was the first pitch of the third inning, being a ball or hit by pitch. And I guess there are people who are the Major League Baseball is now investigating if Luis Ortiz was maybe throwing the ball in the other batter's box to get a quick guaranteed ball. He knew no one was swinging at it. Immediately in the other batter's box, let's get this over. Hey, how you doing? Now let's start the at-bat. That's at least what they are investigating right now. He was supposed to pitch today, too. And the Guardians have lost 6 straight, and this is just fantastic news for them.
This is wild.
Something.
Not that I'm shocked that this couldn't happen, but that this is actually the circumstance. Do we have a video of that, Zach? Is that circling anywhere on X that we could?
All of the pitches?
Yes.
Yeah, I can get it. Yeah, I got them right here if we want them.
Yeah. We want them. We need to see it. The people need to see this. And
I
want to see how bad it is.
So here is the first pitch. Let me zoom out and silence. So first pitch that was flagged. This one not too bad. So this one, bottom second, just easy, normal. I guess they're saying uncompetitive, maybe out of the realm. This one was bad. This one was bad. I see where they're like, hey, this looks intentional. But that could very easily just be hung on too much. Like, there has to be more to this story. That's my biggest takeaway is there has to be, because I love the jokes online. How do you throw 2 pitches so horribly that you get investigated for gambling? This is interesting. I don't know. I saw some people saying how much money did MLB lose, or did draft whoever is involved lose on those bets? There had to be millions of dollars, I would assume, changing hands. If that, there's no way that they're just oh, these pitches were clearly him gambling. I think he just he had to be connected. His name is connected to an account that made a lot of money off these. It's the only reason I can see this, because that's just 2 pitches that I'm you hold on too much.
The first one is I've seen that happen all the time. All the time. In the minor leagues, we're not getting paid anything and people can't bet on it. I saw that all the damn time. The second one is it's nowhere close, but if your hand slips, how many times have we seen a guy in baseball, not that it happens all the time, but it does happen where it slips. So I want to know what else they're doing with this. And yes,
it has to be.
If a lot of money's made on something, right? Of course, the books are going to up, and then here comes the investigations, and I get it. And the other one, if you're going to say of the pitches, that second one wasn't close, but it still wasn't extremely egregious. I'm just wondering, and what I mean by egregious, that wasn't like ball was going to left the entire realm of home plate, like the batter's area,
Mm-hmm.
I really want to know, do they have text with?
There is more that we do not know. There is no way that, that's the thing. There's no way that those two pitches just happened and immediately they were like, something's up. Something had to have been connected. They were tipped off about something.
There has to
be
no doubt that someone had to, because that first pitch specifically. Can you pull that one back up for a second?
Yeah.
You can. That first one specifically, I would not worry about that whatsoever, because that actually,
this is a good pitch.
I know he's an all-star. Javi Baez might really swing at that. You know what I mean?
Halfway to this looks like it just falls off the table. That's not a bad pitch.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. I don't look at that pitch whatsoever as being one that you can deem he was trying to throw, because you know what? That's too close for comfort. If I'm trying to really throw this.
Yeah, how do I? And Ryan, I'll take it one step further. I know you said the Javi Baez thing. This is Randy Arozarena. That man will swing at anything. That's not the guy to throw anything close. I've seen Randy Arozarena swing at that pitch to start at bat maybe 100 times against the Orioles, because he comes up, especially against us, because he knows he just has that confidence that he's going to go yard. He was swinging first pitch no matter where it was. They were tipped off about something.
It had to be tipped off about it, because that first pitch, I think that's way too close. Because honestly, sometimes when I try to think of a foul shooter, or a guy at the free throw line, right? And you're saying, all right, I got to miss this, right? I'm going to intentionally miss. And some guys have trouble doing that. If you're really trying to throw a ball, that can't even be that close, especially pitchers, if you have control, which he does.
Mm-hmm.
That is way too close for comfort for so many different reasons. The second one, I get it, but it's still not so egregious. Unless there is a connection that we haven't gotten yet, and we'll figure out soon. But who it sucks the most for is the Guardians, because you mentioned losers of 6 straight. Now you're down an arm, or then you got to scramble to start somebody else. And the AL Central, by the way, that used to be really strong, there's only one team now that's over 500. That's the best team in baseball, in the Detroit Tigers. Best team in the American League, I should say, because the best team in all of baseball is the Dodgers. But, oh, my goodness, man.
Sure. I see why if someone was telling him to throw that pitch, I see why the second one was so much more blatant, because I'm sure they called him and were like, dude, how about we not just throw a perfect fall off the table right at the end slider into the dirt against Randy Rose? Let's think about it. And someone tipped him off. I can't. I've seen, Ryan, how many times have we seen a pitcher where we joke about it, the first pitch of a game just goes anywhere, and you're like, okay, let's hope we got it better than that. Guys trying to figure out. That's just someone.
I remember watching at the time when guys get the yips, which is a real thing. I remember even Ripken, why I had to switch from a pitcher to a position player, and then made the big leagues again. Which, by the way, if I ever get to talk to Rick and have him on. Awesome guy. And he talked about he couldn't throw a strike. Just like couldn't do it. It was in his mind. So there's these moments that can happen for guys. And even if you have pinpoint control, we see this. Like guys go through certain stretches. So I get it. Now, when it comes to the betting side, to close out this conversation, because I'm seeing people talk about, Joe, you mentioned about betting companies are allowed to be a sponsor. How hypocritical is that? Funny how MLB changed the extra inning rules. Now that one, the second one,
no, that was pace of play. They were tired of.
They were doing that in the minor leagues with us because they realized, well, these minor league guys, we're not paying them really a lot, and they got to travel through the night, and they don't have the resources like the MLB does, where they still are worried about it, but they could call guys up constantly. It's like the minors, you run out of those resources of who you can call up at a given time. They have some guys, not a ton of guys. The betting side of it, though, I mean, betting's been around forever, right? It was just frowned upon back in the days because it didn't have this legalization, but it didn't stop people from betting. The problem, if we're going to talk about what's happening now, is when it comes to certain props in baseball. And, we have a meeting every spring training when I played, Zach. And the rule was, even as this went in for players, and we'll see what happens with Luis Ortiz, is that you understand, these companies, they have a lot of money. And also, like, I want to say this, the companies are bringing in a lot of money for the sport, which helps it grow. The players, if they get involved with that is on them. Like, that's ethically on them. They have a choice. You have a choice of what you want to do. So when I was in the minors and they said to us, like, hey, you can bet on other sports, can never bet on things with baseball because there will be consequences, right? So that's and honestly, the rule, you know what it used to be before that, Zach? It used to be for players, certain drug use, like you couldn't smoke weed or marijuana. And the funny thing was, if you were on the 40-man, if you guys remember the 40-man earlier, if you were put on the 40-man, they didn't test for marijuana. But if you were in the minors and not in the 40-man and you smoked some weed, well, you can get popped. And imagine you got Ryan O'Hearn and DFA'd, taken off the roster, and then you can get tested and then get in trouble, right? But we understood in those rules, Zach. I went, okay, well, in some states at the time, it was becoming legal, or if you want to do that, it's allowed. But the company of who you're working for, these are the rules, these are the regulations. If you don't abide by them, this is what happens. It's like, one football reference that still sticks out to me, and it's Stephen A. Smith's meme out there that stay off the weed.
The weed.
And it was Josh Gordon. Josh Gordon, super talented player, and I feel bad. He had issues with substance abuse, right? And that's a disease, and that's a really hard thing to deal with. But that's also the opportunity where a team's going, hey, we're going to pay you millions of dollars. You can't do this. You can't do these things. So if Luis Ortiz in this situation is involved with this, I blame not the gambling companies for this. I blame the player who is if he's in the big leagues. And what's his number so far this year? I'm curious.
Luis Ortiz, he's having a pretty decent year.
So he's been in the big leagues for, if I'm looking at this right now, 16 games he started. So he's got over a year of service time. So the league minimum is around $750,000 if you're doing the league minimum, right? You're making really good money.
Yeah, I mean, this is his fourth year in the majors.
Yeah. So like that's my point to this is, yes, you can feel a certain way about gambling companies and how it's pushed over. I don't blame the gambling companies for players that are put into this position because you have a choice. You have a choice on what you want to do, And in baseball, it's cut and dry with that. It's the rules. And I saw a comment here about about what was it about? But I just had it. Just saw it. Lost it. Where'd it go? Baby, come back.
Which comment?
And a fool could see. Oh, the Pete Rose thing. At the time, right? And again, I know people are saying, well, look, baseball's gambling, the irony, blah, 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 blah. Again, it just goes back to the ethics and the rules of where things were. You know, Pete Rose, the baseball player, could have been in. I'd even argue, I think Pete was a little bit combative as well throughout the years, Zach, on denying. And we see this world, right? You ask for forgiveness or you renounce your mistakes. People over time, like, will let it go over time.
Yeah.
But the ones that fight it are the ones that they hold on to, and then you can create grudges and you can create some friction. That's what happened with, in my opinion, with Pete in the Hall of Fame in baseball. But what was the rule at the time? The rule was, I don't even care if you're betting on your team to win. If you do it, these are the consequences. Like that. That's just what it comes back to. Zach, I'm going to give you $1 million here to work for the Ryan Ripken show. But here's my 5 rules. You break them, you're not getting it. You're done. And then later come back. If you go, well, hey, it's not fair if I can do that over there. Well, guess what? At the Ryan Ripken show, media empire and all this, that's the rules, right? So, you know, everyone has a different thing.
Yeah.
Thank you for
and I mean, that's it. It's a simple thing. Like it wasn't like the rules changed and he got, grandfather, anything like that. Like the rules were the rules. Obviously after he passed, they're going to change things up and everything. But like you said, it's because of grudges. It's always that, and people hold on. And now at this point, I guess they feel like, okay, now they are trying to move on. So I think that just is a whole different conversation about the time, like you said, people not, owning up to things and still trying to force grudges. That's kind of, I think where the situation got stickier.
Yeah, it's a good question here, Nomadic Brian. Ever since the first bet on who would win the first caveman fight, back then they also had bets on cockfights too. They did.
Yeah, I'm sure. I know.
They really did. They really did. Just saying. Cockfight.
Back in them days.
Back in the days. But you know what? Overall, we're going to see this whole situation play out. It's something that I am fascinated with. And I do see Nick about, damn, 40 man was lit. I got to tell you, buddy, when they took that off, when they took it, the 40 man or the all players aren't going to be tested in the minor leagues for weed anymore. Holy shirts and pants, dude. Spring trainings. Let's just say the people that like to have a little fun, they had their downtime,
Yeah.
And they didn't even try to hide it, 40 man. 40 man is lit. Yeah, And again, weed's legal in a lot of states now, right? So almost
I remember Kevin Gosman talking about that on a podcast. It was like, there's not much else to do on Bowie. It was like you just had to hope you were on the 40 man.
I'm just saying, I remember there's one guy, I'm blanking on his name. And if I remember it, I won't say it either, just out of respect to him. But I remember he got taken off the 40 man and he went, shit. And I go, and like, I'm like, oh, I thought, like, I'm sorry, man. Like, you're going to get back. Just keep grinding. It's going to work out. And it was, well, no, I wonder if I'm going to get tested now. He goes, because I'm going to fail. What do you mean? Because he goes, well.
And they don't care that it was while you're on the 40 man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good. I mean, that's where like you genuinely do feel bad because it's like that. I mean, you knew the risk, obviously, but like to get that phone call, I couldn't imagine being like, damn, that's now suddenly can't be doing that anymore. And the fact that I did it while I could might still cost me.
I definitely could. Definitely could. And we appreciate all of you guys. And I've been getting the YouTube ones. I did want to get a shout out because we're on Facebook. Peggy had a comment about Pete Rose, saying my daughter Penny and I have this argument about Pete being in the Hall of Fame. I feel like he should have been in way before he passed. She feels differently. And now that he's gone on to glory, all of a sudden it's okay. MLB let Pete down. Steroids are okay, but gambling wasn't. The reason why, they said Pete was allowed back in because he's reinstated to baseball is because he was not deemed a threat anymore. And that's the one word where I go, is he really a threat to the game after a certain point in time? Now, the allegation, now to be into Cooperstown, that's still going to be up for debate. Like that, he still has to go through the process. And I'm really curious. In the Hall of Fame, this is, how do you tell the story? Pete Rose is a part of baseball history. The steroid era is a part of baseball history, right? Mm-hmm. You can't wipe it. So how do you best tell that story, and how do you best honor that? Because that is the game. Shoeless Joe Jackson, same thing. It was like 100 years, that got at the same time. So, yeah. And the other part, and look, I don't want to get into with the Pete and the personal things, but the Hall also does look into personal decisions, personal things that happen outside of the field. Ollie, no, we're talking about baseball. Ollie was going to try to get a Deep Eddy vodka drink. I know he's 21.
I was going to say, it's the holiday weekend. We're starting early.
He's ready. He's ready to rock and roll. But to finish the thought, they do take that into account with the Hall of Fames. They did it in football. Like Terrell Owens wasn't a first ballot. It took him years to get in, and he was pissed about it. But you know what they did? They didn't look at Terrell Owens, just the football player on the field. They took other things into account. Baseball has taken other things into account. The steroid era, they have kept guys out because of that. Some of the writers then will not vote for players if they deem that they were in this circumstance or they didn't like them. Like I told that story, Zach, there was a couple of people I think that came out and said they would not vote for my dad, not because they didn't think that he was the baseball player, but that he played in the steroid era. So therefore, that's their reasoning to not elect or to not cast a vote, right? It wasn't because of they're saying his stats or what he did on the field. That was their interpretation. So we're going to see what happens. We went off on a tangent there. But if you're new to the channel,
had to, though.
Subscribe button. Ryan Ripken Show, do this live every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I saw someone make a joke about, well, where's Bolly's bets? So is this a terrible segue? I don't know. You tell me. But I will say we do have, for our sponsor up at Hollywood Casino at Charlestown Races in
West Virginia. I just took it over. I decided to take it over.
Well, there's a delay.
Yeah, so, no, that's why I just had to. I didn't know which one of us was gonna just do fake it and which one. So I just went for it.
Damn right. So with Hollywood Casino up at Charlestown Races in West Virginia, look, we just had that show last week with Ryan Zimmerman, which when we get to around baseball here in just a little bit, we're going to talk about a certain player that's in the home run derby that Zimmerman talked about with us up there in West Virginia. They've been a fantastic sponsor. And actually for that day with Ryan Zimmerman up there, the casino raised money for the Zimmerman Foundation that they were able to give as part of one of the promotions up there to the Zimmerman Foundation that gives back to those that are dealing with MS. Thin Line Service Dogs is also sponsored by Hollywood Casino. So Holly, if you guys watch the show on Saturday, which Ollie, I love you, and it's a reflection of your owner, that's me. Holly was incredible for a 6-month-old puppy golden retriever. And Thin Line Service Dogs helps disabled veterans and first responders. They're going to end up being there for them with all the needs. And there's always more needs than one, right? And what a dog specifically, you guys know how I feel about Ollie, of what they can represent. And Thin Line Service Dogs helps train to help those in need right there. And then they name one of the dogs after one of the fallen first responders or veterans. So Holly was named after one of the ones that had fallen in memory. So I think it's all really cool. And where I'm going with this is it was a fantastic day up there. I got some photos. We took some tequila shots. I don't think Zach made a bet there this time, so he didn't lose. Zach did make a bet yesterday. Gunnar Henderson.
It went exactly like I told you. He had 7 hits off of Valdi. He owns Valdi, and it went exactly like I said. Strikes out his first 3 at-bats and then hits a double in the 9th to cash us. So it's just how we drew it up, everyone. Exactly. That's how we drew it up. Just by the plan, baby. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I was like, damn, that is another one. I saw he had another chance in the 9th. I was listening to it, and I just hear, Gunner into the gap, and I was like, please get down. Then it got down. I was like, get on 2. I don't need just the hit. I was like, we need you on 2. He did it, though. He did it.
I'm happy for you. So you're back right now. Since we were voided on Monday, Tuesday, you're 1-0 on the week. Can we go perfect? Do we dare to dream for 2-0 on the week here, Zach?
Well, we're doing it. We are doing it. I'm sticking simple. We're going to go with another guy who we're going Willie Adames. Willie Adames has hit in 3 straight games. We're going 2+ bases versus Brandon Fat. I say his name wrong every time. Pitcher from Arizona. He, I believe, has 3 hits off of him in 5 at-bats, including 1 home run. Willie Adames, 2+ bases. He's starting to get his confidence back, getting a little swagger back there over in San Francisco. So we're going for 2-0 this week. Willie Adames, 2+ bases.
Zach Bollinger trying to get back on the horse. And this is really when we're looking at for placing bets. It's people like Zach. Look at him. This is good for him.
Yeah.
Depending on
this is what it's all about.
Yeah. You're a good kid. I don't care what everyone else on the show thinks about you, especially Ollie. Just kidding. All positives here. But if you want to tell Zach, if you believe in the kid, if you believe in him, is this the week for Zach? Well, then guess what? Right here, ESPN Bet is still offering it through Hollywood Casino. You bet $10, you get 100 back in bonus bets, and first 30 days are on them. You get ESPN Plus, stream exclusive live sports right there on ESPN Plus. Download the app now. You must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER if you have an issue, or call our friend Rocco DeSangro. We had a great time up there, Zach, to close it out, and we had the community up there joining. Uncle Andy Billy made his.
It was a time.
Joey was back again. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun, and we have a great community. So we are going to be back up there again as football season approaches. And we're not kidding. You come up there, you get a shot with us. You might be on the show, and we hang out. We hung out. We hung out for 2 or 3 hours after the show. We got some dinner.
Yeah,
it's great.
We made decisions,
Yeah, we did. We did make some decisions. Before I get into speaking of decisions, let's close out. We appreciate and love our friends up at Hollywood Casino Charlestown Races in
West Virginia. Beautiful.
Freaking amazing.
Nailed
it. But speaking of, if you've been, I lost my train of thought. Point was, did you vote yet for Darren O'Day?
That's so funny. That's exactly what I just had up on my phone was him, because I just saw Darren O'Day. Do you want a current update?
Yes.
We have 12.7 thousand responses currently, and Darren O'Day is sitting at 93%. That's what I'm talking about.
We got to keep that up, though. So for those that
Yeah.
don't know about this, the Hall Pretty Good and the commissioner of the Hall Pretty Good, Bryce Whitlow, joined us yesterday to make the case with us for why Darren O'Day would be voted in. So every Thursday and Sunday, there's a new player that's up for vote, and the people vote if Darren O'Day will be a part of the Hall of Pretty Good or of the Hall of Pretty Good's inner circle, which requires
inner circle.
Yeah. Getting over 90% of your vote, right? So Shane Victorino and Hideki Matsui are two names that have crossed that threshold. In case there's a lot of Baltimore people here, but in case you didn't know who Darren O'Day was, allow us quickly to explain why you, the people, need to vote for Darren O'Day on Facebook if you haven't already. And Zach, as always, it's over or under 2 seconds. Under,
because this is rigged.
Should Darren O'Day be in the Hall of Pretty Good?
One of my all-time favorite players. He didn't get into the MLB till he was 25, but that didn't stop him from playing in nearly 15 seasons and just accumulating numbers. I mean, over 17 WAR is insane. I mean, we have position players in with less WAR. You look at Ricky Weeks, Mark Reynolds, people like that. And then the precedent set by Steve Cishek getting in as the first vote. If you put their numbers up side by side, I think O'Day's got him beat a little bit. And O'Day has the all-star nod. I think this should be a slam dunk. And I will go on record and say I'll be very disappointed if he does not get in.
Okay, let me read you some numbers right now. All over 60 innings pitched, 2.28, 2.18, 1.7, 1.52. And that's just the start. You can go down. He's had even better seasons. Incredible mustache, incredible sidearm delivery, submarine, and then damn good ball player. He was a huge part of that bullpen when the Orioles were humming. He was the most memorable bullpen arm, it felt like, or one of the most memorable throughout all of baseball. Go look up some Darren O'Day highlights before you cast your vote, because if you're casting it just off of you're not aware of the man's game, we have a serious problem here. And we will have a serious problem here if Darren O'Day is not elected in. But go follow the Hall of Pretty Good over there on Instagram. That's the only place you can vote. And we're going to have the commissioner, Bryce Whitlow, on again in the future to continue that. I thought that was great. I love, Zach, that we got to make a case. We got to be a part of this.
Shout out, Bryce. I just put in all caps on the Instagram post, if Darren O'Day isn't Hall of Pretty Good, then I don't know who is, and he just pinned it. So I already said on Twitter I will take it personally if he is not. So this is still sitting at 93%. Also, I love, because that video that we posted currently collabed with Bryce and has 20.4 thousand views on Instagram. And I would love to know how confused people are of why you're also just making eggs while talking about this.
Dude, so someone asked, why is one glove on? Why one glove while you're cooking? I'm like, well, first off, I got blasted by people. Oh, that's not sanitary, Ryan. Well, on the Ryan Ripken show, you can do whatever the hell you want to do. You can do a little bit of this. You can do a little bit of this. You can kick down the door if you want. You can handle oil, which I'm glad I didn't spill that. But you know what? There are a lot of questions. Great video. Great case. But above all, better pitcher Darren O'Day should be in the Hall of Pretty Good. So, Zach, I want to open up to our call-ins here in a minute, but I want to go over – I didn't have a chance for us to talk about the NL All-Star selections or starters real quick, and then we got to talk about that one Zim thing, and then whammy, bada bing, bada bang. We're rocking, we're rolling, we're having fun, sip and smile style. Ooh, like that.
There we go.
So here are your National League All-Star starters for this year, okay? So 2 Cubs, Kyle Tucker, Peter Crow Armstrong, or PCA, they're out there. And how about Mr. Acuna Jr., Ronald Acuna Jr. in Atlanta? Getting the start. Ketel Marte and Lindor up the middle. Freddie Freeman over there at first base. And then former Baltimore Oriole Manny Machado gets another nod. And yes, it's got to start to sink in for people that Manny Machado will go into the Hall of Fame as a Padre. because now he has spent just as many years in San Diego as he has in Baltimore. Behind the dish, Will Smith having a phenomenal season. We don't know the starting pitcher, but we do know who the DH is. He's the international icon. He's the unicorn. He is Mr. Shohei Ohtani. There's no surprise there. He won the vote. So a lot of great players, all deserving of it, right? I think they're all deserving. But I do see CB here right now saying James Wood, big-time robbery. CB, you are exactly right. Because we're talking about guys that need to be in the All-Star game. James Wood needs to be in the All-Star game. I don't even know how many times I've talked about James Wood. I did a breakdown before the season started on James Wood. I was enamored with him when he came to the Nationals and the deal, enamored with what he did last year when he came up to the bigs. And he is having a phenomenal first real full year in the big league, Zach. I mean, I want to read the stats off real quickly. And the other thing, we do know he's going to be at the All-Star weekend, at least for the moment. Why, Zach? Because he's joined the Home Run Derby, correct?
Yep. The Home Run Derby is the third participant to be officially made official in it. He's got him, Acuna, and Cal Raleigh are the three official ones that we know about.
So there they are. So Acuna Jr. doing it at home. Big dumper, doing it everywhere, dumping it down. And then there's James Wood, who is so talented. And Zach, I want to actually pull up of qualified outfielders, just numbers-wise, because I'm curious. You know, I'm just curious where he stands, okay? Do you want to play this game real quickly?
Let's do it.
James Wood, for home runs, is he in the top 5?
For National League?
All of outfielders in baseball.
Oh, just outfielders.
All outfielders.
Yeah,
that's correct. He's second out of all outfielders. You want to guess who number 1 is?
Yeah, Aaron Judge.
Aaron Judge. The only person ahead of him for home runs is Aaron Judge. Now let's go to RBIs because people look at those stats. Zach, where do you think James Wood lies in this situation? I'll say top 10, top 5, top 15, wherever you think he is. Where is James Wood in RBIs?
And for outfielders in baseball or?
Outfielders in baseball.
Top 5.
That's correct. He's number 3. The only ones ahead of them are left field all-star for the Detroit Tigers, Riley Green, who has 69. And then that guy in New York, Aaron Judge, leads all of the outfielders in baseball with 70 RBI. Should we keep playing this game?
Let's keep it going.
Keep this going here. Okay. And this is where it's still fascinating to me. Doubles. Okay. So he's second in home runs. In this case, James Wood, top 5, 10, 15 for doubles on the season.
I'm going to stick top 5.
Okay. This is where he dropped down. He's top 10 with 19, but he would be in a 3-way or a 4-way tie for 7th if he had one more double. So Taylor Ward, Crow Armstrong, Randy Rosarina all have 20. And then he would be in a 4-way tie for 4th if he had 21 with Aaron Judge, Riley Green, Jarren Duran. The leader, by the way, this is how close it is. Lawrence Butler leads all outfielders in doubles with 23. And James Wood is 4 off the pace for this. Should we keep? I mean, this is insane. Okay? Insane. Let's go to this. Hits in baseball, top 5, 10, 15.
For outfielders?
Sorry.
I'll go top 10.
You are correct. He is tied for 8th, 91 hits. Guys who have more hits than him, Stephen Kwan, Jarren Duran, Jackson Chourio, Kyle Tucker, Riley Green, Aaron Judge. And he is tied with Nick Castellanos and Sal Frelick. He's got more hits than Pete Crow Armstrong. Okay. So it's interesting. Okay, let's continue on. Average. Go ahead, Zach, for outfielders.
Is he batting? Last time I checked, is he still around 278-ish?
283.
I need to learn ball. I'm going to say he's top. That's easily top 10 for outfielders.
He is tied with former Baltimore Oriole Kyle Stowers. They both are hitting 283 right now, and that is tied for 10th best in all of baseball for outfielders. Okay, so if he has a lot of home runs, you're assuming his slugging's got to be pretty high.
Yeah.
Where do you think he ranks?
I'm going to say he's top 3 in slugging.
Just outside top 4.
Is he 4?
He's 4. 547, and the guys in front of him, Riley Green, Corbin Carroll, Aaron Judge.
Aaron Judge. God. I wasn't thinking Corbin. I forgot Corbin Carroll started hitting homers out of nowhere at a ridiculous pace, midway through May.
Yep. And then to close it all out here, OPS for James Wood. Where does he rank for outfielders?
That's got to be top 3.
That's correct. He's number 2. The only one in front of him,
Aaron Judge.
Aaron Judge. So if James Wood doesn't make the All-Star game, I know that everyone could say about snubs, we would actually be looking at one of the most ludicrous snubs out there when you're looking at production. When you're looking at production on the field. James Wood is a superstar. And actually, we had a chance to talk with Ryan Zimmerman up there at Hollywood Casino, and I had to ask Zim a little bit, and I gave him my back and forth because I played with some guys where I had that oh shit moment. But let's just talk about this little convo we had with Ryan Zimmerman real quickly. I'll play that clip for you guys. And as always, under 2 seconds. Here it is. Field power. I still can't get over how James Wood absolutely pipes the ball the other way with such ease. I mean, you've been watching him.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and I think I'll say what's special about him is like 3-0 counts, 3-1 counts. He knows what he's good at. And that's what I tell a lot of young hitters, too. Like, they get to the big leagues, and then all of a sudden they think they need to do something else. Or, you hear a young guy, I need to hit for more power. I need to pull the ball in the air. I need to do this. I'm like, you need to do whatever you did to get you to this point in your career. Like, the assistant hitting coach in AAA doesn't know what you've been doing for the last 20 years of your life when you got to AAA. Like, I'm all for listening to coaches, but like, you're good at what you do. Yeah. Stick to what you're good at. I mean, that's all of pro sports. Like, use your strengths to your advantage and try and stay away from your weaknesses as much as you can. And James Wood, man,
he's a superstar.
Yeah, that dude. And I haven't looked at the All-Stars. My buddies are texting me because they're all mad because he's supposedly not going to be on the if he's not on the All-Star team, there's something like
he was like 9th in the voting because there was a voting.
Well, don't they do then they do the coaches' choices?
I'm hoping he has to be a choice.
Yeah. Okay.
I think we're in agreement with that because I'm watching the guy. So guys, where I had it's my podcast. You don't have to curse, but I had oh shit moments.
Yeah.
And so the oh shit moments that I had. So I play with Soto in the minors.
Yep.
So I was like,
decent hitter.
Different. Yeah, he's okay. 750 million reasons why he's doing okay.
Yep.
Gunnar Henderson, where talent, you sit there, you go, damn, he has it. And then watching it, I haven't been around James, but I just get that same type of feeling of special. It's too easy. And he keeps it simple.
I think the young talent in the game now is the best it's ever been.
So that last little tidbit at the end, and that was us up at Hollywood Casino at Charlestown Races in West Virginia. And, the look with Zim talking about James Wood, how shocked he would be. And you guys have heard my words just right there. And I'm not gonna mince words here. James Wood, I said before the season, had a chance to be a top 5 player in the next 2 to 3 years. And I think it might be at the end of this year, Zach. you have that sense. You heard Keith Law earlier talk about there's certain things for players that you can't quantify or you can't watch with what they're doing, but you just kind of have that feeling.
Mm-hmm.
That's James Wood. Like I'm just dumbfounded. And I mean, shouldn't be dumbfounded. I don't think people realize how ridiculous his opposite field power is. Like it is insane. But you know what also, or I'll let you talk then, Zach. Zim talked about James Wood is staying to his strengths. And that's been a big reason why he's had success. He's not trying to reinvent what got him up to the big leagues.
Yeah, I mean, it's unbelievable. You talk about his opposite field hitting and approach. In 2025, he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 opposite field homers. He's got some more doubles that would be homers in a lot of parks. But he sprays the ball all over. He's finally not figuring it out, but he's finally pulling the ball. I mean, when he pulls the ball, it's going 500 feet. Like, when he gets a hold of it, he is just he'll use the entire field. He hits for average. He hits for power. He hits gap to gap. He's not just a power. We see so many guys who are just a power hitter, just a home run hitter, just a double hitter, just a singles hitter. He can do it all. He genuinely can do it all. And I think that's what makes him this special, force. Is that at this age, he does use the whole field. And it's very rare for you to see a guy this young and this good and sit there and say to yourself and mean it, damn, if he worked on a few things, if he could figure out a few more things, he could be even better. Like, he's just so good at how he already is as he continues to, grow into himself, become a better ball player, work on little things. He can go and take on heights that few players genuinely have been to.
I'm with you. I really am. And actually, I see Alex's question here, and this is interesting. Would you trade Ronald Acuna Jr. for Woods straight up, money not an issue?
Who? We would trade Acuna for Woods. You
would trade Acuna for Woods.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. People may or may not. I would go to, if we're talking same age, no. Fact that James Wood is 22, yes.
I would say
100% healthy is what gets me. Because even then, like, I'm a massive Ronald Acuna fan.
I'm a huge fan of Acuna, where we know in 2023 when he won the MVP, 41 jacks, 106 RBIs. 73 stolen bases. That's just silly.
Yeah.
Silver Slugger, All-Star, all of that. Dude, I maybe because I'm so bullish on Wood, I think I'm making that deal 100%. They're good, same age. The pedigree that I think James Wood's hitting will be for years is the one thing that I look at. Because Ronald Acuna has so much physical talent. I think if we're looking at the both all-around players, Zach, Acuna Jr. might physically be the more talented player in that regard. Mm-hmm. But as far as hitting, how James Wood hits, I think that's going to play for a really, really long time. I don't see a lot of weaknesses right now. I think the thing that's scary for me with James Wood. So if I go back to Ronald Acuna Jr. and look, like, he's been a really good player. 2019, 41 home runs, 101 RBIs. Had a tough time staying healthy. And this is a hard thing. All around, it's Ronald Acuna Jr., but I am just buying that James Wood, we are about to see something here from this kid that we're going to be talking about for a really long time, even more so than Acuna Jr. And it's hard to take the injuries aside. But if we're talking about right now, 27 versus 22, Zach, no brainer. James Wood.
Yeah.
Come on down.
That age is the biggest reason. They were both at 22. I think you have a much bigger argument, and knowing they're both healthy, both same age, I'd feel a lot just because of that Ronald Acuna can be a 50-50 guy, 40-70 guy, then we might be talking. But you take into account age, especially you take into account injuries. Yeah, I would take Wood.
And he's kind of right on pace for right below, if we do it, like right around 40 jacks, 120 RBIs.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
And almost 40 doubles. Whew, man. That's a good one. That's a good one. That's why great question, Alex. Great question. Good debate.
Great question.
Hey, you know what? We love all this. And you know what we also love? We love all of you here at the Ryan Ripken Show community. We have a Discord too that we got to make sure it's a free Discord. You guys can go check it out whenever you want. Whenever, wherever. We were meant to be together. I'll be there and you'll be near. And Zach doesn't know the song, my dear.
No, I've actually heard that. I was like, when you start singing, I was like, oh, I know the tune. But no.
I wonder if anyone in the chat would get it because I changed the words a little bit. But I think that people would. So the chat, if you get it, you let me know. But also for the chat, right now it is Thursdays. And I know we're running along. And Zach, if you got to get going because of course you stay as long as you want. But I do want to open it up for our call-ins. We're not going to make this long, okay? Not going to make it long, but we're going to open it up for our Holy Shirts and Pants members. Okay, so if you want to be a part of the members, be part of the group, part of the ship, part of the crew, we're going to put that in right now. Right? That's what we've been doing, right? I'm not losing my mind.
Put in the what?
Put it in for the Holy Shirts and Pants.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. And it is posted. It's in. And thank you. I'm glad that we have people that have culture here.
Oh, Shakira. Shakira.
The Baltimore Street News this morning. I was asking, or maybe this afternoon, I was asking for some bops on my car ride up. And he goes, well, make sure you got Petey Pablo on there. I'm like, oh, buddy, do I got Petey Pablo on there? Growing up with the song Freak a Leak and you're dancing to it and bumping to it at like 11 years old, not knowing what the hell the words are. That's the era that I missed. And then there was Raise Up, which if you're down at North Carolina, Zach, I got to say I was out at a bar when I was on one of my off seasons. They played that out at the bar. North Carolina, come on and raise up. Oh, it was amazing. So yeah, Petey Pablo was already on the shuffle for years and years and years. And Zach, you might be a rookie.
You know what?
Rookie and a vet. Just saying. Well, I see we got one guy who's ready to rock and roll. You might know him as The More You Know with Arkansas Joe. I'm sure if he might have I have a feeling he might have a fact or two for us. But Joe.
Hey, how we doing?
How we doing? Happy early 4th of July to you, my friend. What's going on?
It is a nice early Thursday. They had a hard shutoff time today at work, so nice long weekend. Get everybody home.
Hell yeah! We got any plans for the fourth weekend?
No, not really. I'm just gonna be hanging around the house, cleaning and organizing.
It kind of sounds like me. That's what Jamie's hoping that I'm going to be this guy that's going to clean up well. Time will tell, Joe. Check back with me next Tuesday. See how I do.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah.
We'll
hey, I know you were hoping that Keith Law was going to say, maybe Gage would be one of those options, be the first option. But
we'll see how it goes. It'd be nice if he was the 31, 32, whatever pick that is.
It would be really nice.
Oh my gosh, I don't think he's gonna last that long though, Joe. I don't
think
he's gonna.
Not after pitching a no-hitter. It's the recency bias, right? So.
Oh, for sure, and also the biggest stage, and also seeing him throwing 97. in the
But
ninth.
he was hurt for 6 weeks in the season, so that does lower your stock a little bit because pitcher injuries are a
Yeah,
thing.
for sure.
So he was out. He was probably scheduled to be the Saturday starter all season long, but got hurt in February and missed 6 weeks. So
It happens to you. I remember my teammate, or in summer ball from Baltimore, name is Lamont Wade, and Monty's bounced around a little bit as an outfielder. Excuse me, but he got hurt his junior year to start at Maryland. Got off to a solid start, but then he was one of those guys that people were still wondering what he could be, and he got healthy right before the regional, and UCLA I think was the top team at the time. And then he won regional, or player of the regional, just balled out. And it ended up boosting his stock, and he ended up going in the 10th round, falls into that spot, and then he moved quickly. And then, hey, he's turned into a big leaguer and stayed around for years over there in San Francisco. Think how he's moved on to the Angels. But, yeah, you never know. You just got to be right at the right time.
the guy from our pitching staff that I really think is going to make a dent is Will McIntyre.
Yeah.
He stayed in school all 6 years. He was obviously draft eligible for 2 years. Didn't pitch very much this year, but definitely a veteran. I think he's already like 24. So
you're wondering how quickly he could move through if he's got a good idea of what he wants to do. And typically they want to try to push the older guys if they can,
I think if San Diego doesn't re-sign King or Cease, that Cobbs will probably be in their rotation next year. So I don't know if they're using him. I haven't kept track of it to know if they're pitching him as a starter in AAA or if he's a reliever. But that dude had some dominant stuff a couple years ago coming out of college.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, no doubt.
It's definitely going to be interesting.
It's always interesting, Joe. Well, because we got some people lined up, I mean, I'd be shocked if you don't have an Arkansas fact for us. I'd kind of be offended.
The Arkansas River is the longest flowing river in the Mississippi River system. 1,200 plus miles.
Excuse me, 1,200 plus miles?
Yeah.
How long is the Mississippi?
Longer than that.
Well, yeah.
I mean, this isn't Mississippi facts, Rip.
It is not. Okay. You know what? I understand that. Zach, I'm trying to look up. Okay. The Mississippi River is 2,340 miles. And you're saying the Arkansas River is 112?
1,200 miles. The longest flowing river into the Mississippi River system. So it flows directly into Mississippi.
Miles. Damn.
Goes from Missouri all the way down through Arkansas into the Mississippi River.
See, I would not have known that, but
A lot of good fishing on the Arkansas River.
what do we catch?
And to Shannon's point in the background, there's a lot of duck hunting on the Arkansas River as well.
So what we're finding out is you can, if I remember correctly, Zach, going through my checklist, we can gold mine there, or we can look for diamonds, whatever it was, right?
Yeah, no, gold.
Diamond.
Right?
Those
Diamond.
diamonds.
It is diamond.
Diamonds, yeah, crater diamond.
So
There's crystal caves here too. So you can find crystals, you can find diamonds.
oh
The
my
crystals
God.
the crystals are up in northwest Arkansas by the university.
Perfect. Well, I think we'll have to do that. We'll have to go fishing on the largest river that goes into the Mississippi River. And you can't pronounce Arkansas a different way in the state of Arkansas, though, or they'll get rid of you. Allegedly. You know what, Zach? That can be one of your dares. When we take the show on the road, it can be like Bali's dares.
Just say Arkansas and Arkansas.
Yeah, Bali's bets, but like actually a truth or dare, or more of a dare. Like I bet you.
We can be right on the state line. I run over, say it, run back.
Ooh.
I mean, you guys did say you're going to Oklahoma next year, so
Hey, you know what?
I have to.
we might have to take a little trip down on through. Is the Mississippi River running through Oklahoma? Yeah. We'll just float on down into Arkansas, to the Arkansas River, and then we'll connect. Perfect. Great.
Yep. Sounds good.
Sounds good. Well, Joe, we got to get to a couple other people, but appreciate you, my friend. Have a great 4th. Enjoy your off time.
Yeah, we're going to try.
Yeah, might have something coming your guys' way. We have an interview that's scheduled tomorrow, but we'll talk about that later. I'll tease it.
And as always, follow the pages, the Instagram, the Baltimore Joe 82, and on the Facebook for your Arkansas facts. So.
Arkansas, hey, the logo looks good, Joe. I like it. Logo looks good. Really good.
That was courtesy of Pigtown Sports. He sent that to me.
He did a great job. Well, good. Everyone follow Baltimore Joe 82, Arkansas Facts. And the more you know with Joe. Be good, Joe. Enjoy your weekend. We'll talk next week, all right?
We'll need someone else for Mississippi Facts.
We can't have the more you know with Joe works, but obviously we can't say the more you know with Mississippi Joe. That's terrible.
Yeah, doesn't make sense.
No, the more you know with Arkansas Joe. What would go well with the more you know with Pinocchio?
Well, the more you know with Joe is just like that. It rolls off the tongue.
Would it be like facts with myths in Mississippi?
It would have to be. Yeah, we'd have to figure something out. Yeah, something with Mississippi. I don't know where we go with that.
Yeah, that's a good question. So it's a really good question that we got to come up with all that. Sips with Mississippi. Wow. That's
could be it.
Could be it. And I see Jake, so we'll get to Steve here in a second. How do you become a member of this show? Is it something where I need my PC? I know some people have had trouble when they're not on.
I think a computer. Yeah, I've not seen a way to do it on your phone yet. I've yet to see someone. If someone in the comments knows how to do it on your phone, you could help Jake, please.
Right.
I'm not. I've yet to find a way for us to.
I don't really know exactly. I think Nick British Raven is trying to help with that right there. If you load it into your mobile browser and request desktop version. Or when you get to your PC, you can click the join button. If you join the Holy Shirts and Pants, you have the option then to be a part of this. And again, it's all these go back into making this experience better. I mean, heck, look how far we've come. We just went over 20,000 this week, which is still absolute banana land to me when I think about where we've come from. And Zach has had the exact same hat since he started here as well. We've
had a few new ones. We've had a few new hat days, but
old reliable
here.
Yeah, and
if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
And some things stay the same, but we also trying to enhance the whole product here. But we're going to keep the same gang together. All right, let's go to Steve over there, right behind the curtain. Steve,
what's up, fellas?
What's up, Steve? What you got for me? I saw a couple things. Was it trivia? Did you have something earlier?
I have a trivia question, and it revolves around Clayton Kershaw.
Lay it on me.
Clayton Kershaw last night became the 4th left-hander to join the 3,000 strikeout club. Who are the other 3?
Randy Johnson.
Yes.
So there's 4. So it's Randy and Clayton are 2.
Yes.
Sandy?
No.
Chris Sale isn't there yet.
No, Chris Sale's not.
No, it's not. It's because it's not a guy in the game because he's still too far away from it. Damn.
The other two lefties you're missing are Hall of Famers as well.
Yeah. But it wouldn't be Glavine, would it?
No.
I didn't think so. Goodness. Zach, this is tough. This is a good question, Steve. Well done. Okay, let me think. Before I need a hint, let's brainstorm here, Zach. Let's brainstorm. Hall of Famer, lefty. So we already have Randy. I want my mind to go away from Randy. Like, let's go to somebody else. I keep thinking of Randy. Why do I? It's when you tell yourself not to think of something.
Well, exactly.
Thing.
All right. Your first hint, one of the two remaining lefties is a recent Hall of Famer.
CC Sabathia.
Yep.
Good for CC.
That's the one I should have gotten.
Yeah.
Damn.
You know what, Zach?
The recent one. I've been sitting here. I don't know why this whole time. I couldn't get Madison Bumgarner off of my list. And I'm like, he's not even in the 3,000. Like, for some reason, I just kept on saying Madison Bumgarner. That just doesn't make sense.
The last lefty was a National League mainstay.
National League mainstay? Are we going like 80s, 90s?
80s.
Oh.
Oh.
Well, Zach,
Like,
you know what the 80s are.
I'm trying to think. I'm literally going off of baseball cards or baseball, like playing MLB The Show right now.
Oh. It's gonna bother the hell out of me. For the sake of time, Steve,
Wait, I want to look up if this guy was a lefty first. Never mind.
I will give you this hint. If I remember correctly, he was on the 83 Phillies that lost to the Orioles.
So yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I'm not as well versed with the 83 Phillies. Stevie, I think you got us stumped on this one. Who is it? Who we got?
He's got my first name.
Steve Carlton?
Yes.
Oh my. Steve,
I would not have guessed that.
That was well done. Yeah, all I can think about is that's for a different time. But hey, hell of a trivia question. I know you got some baseball season, but Steve, bravo.
And I'm gonna say this: if James Wood is not on the National League bench, there are going to be riots in DC.
Yeah, I mean, there are very few players that deserve it more than he does.
I might go out there. I might be out there. I'll grab my lumber. I'll grab my wood for James Wood. I'll go and get my bat. I have it right over there. I got from Hollywood Casino. And I know that really didn't sound right. It's not what I meant it to come out as, Zach, or Steve. But we're going to go down there and make sure that James Wood is a member of the All-Star team. I don't see how that the rest of baseball cannot vote this man in to the All-Star game. The baseball people have to do it. Have to do it.
Have to. And not only that, you have him, Acuna, and Dumper in the Derby.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
I'm really curious though. The last thing, Steve, and then we got to move on. The only thing I wonder with guys is how good are you as a home run derby guy? Because James Wood's game, unique New York. It is. He hits the ball really well the other way. You know, it's not really his game to try to light tower power pull the ball, but I know he can. So I'm just kind of curious what the style is going to be. But for the home run derby, having stars in the game, I consider James a star. I think he's a superstar. And Acuna and Big Dumper. Like, that is great.
And I know this is probably gonna piss a lot of Yankee fans off. I think Cal Raleigh is a favorite for AL MVP.
That will piss off a lot of Yankees fans. A lot, Steve. I don't think you know exactly what you were saying when you said that out loud. But to be fair, Cal Raleigh is having one of the, if not the best catching season we might be witnessing. 33 home runs right now. He's 2 off of the pace for Ken Griffey Jr.'s Seattle Mariners record before the All-Star break. And Big Dumper now becomes the 4th player to do this, 4th or 5th player. And then Ken Griffey did it like 3 times to hit 30 or more home runs because Ken Griffey is he's the kid. He's unbelievable. Really great.
Speaking of Junior, great interview on Sunday.
Thank you. We got a lot more clips we're going to put out there, but Ken is awesome. The goal is get him up to Baltimore to come to a Ravens game. And get him out for the tailgates. He says he wants the tailgate, Zach.
Let's do it.
We'll
get him in the lots.
Get him on the lots. Get him down there.
And as of right now, I'm still planning on coming up for that Detroit Monday night game.
Ooh. Hey now, Steve. Hey now. That should be a big one. Oh, man, football season is right around the corner here.
Oh, it is.
It's right there. Well, Steve, I appreciate you, man. I hope you have a great 4th. Be good.
I will.
Have a crush or 2 if you want. When you're in town, I'll have to get a crush for you on me, and we'll rock and roll, all right?
Sounds good. I appreciate it, fellas.
All right, Steve. Appreciate you, man. Thank you, Steve.
Steve. Well, that was a good question. I didn't know it. I'm mad I didn't get CC. That's the one I'm mad about.
Yeah, I'm pretty mad about
Steve
that.
Carlton, I wouldn't have that you could have given me.
You might have thought of like Carlton Banks from Fresh Prince. You don't even probably know who that is either.
Yeah, I did. Do Carlton?
Yeah. Kind of. No one can really see that, so no one's really.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I guess you're gonna.
Then. Do you know who sings the song? That song is.
Couldn't tell you.
To love by anyone. Yeah, you don't know.
Nope, not a clue.
Okay, well, before we get to our final caller of the show, I want to thank earlier. He was back to it, but Gary Williams Stole My Lawn Furniture Show, Unique New York, Brooks, appreciate you, and the crew. Also, I don't know if you saw that Beer Olympics photo that he put up where like he was insinuating that we would lose the Beer Olympics. And I took that personally. We'll have to figure something like that in the future. Adit is now a 14-month member.
That's crazy.
Amazing. Appreciate you. And who will be the next active pitcher to get 30,000 strikeouts? Gosman's interesting, right? Over 1,800. Yeah, I mean, looking at it, it's going to be really interesting for pitchers in general where the sport goes. Of all the stats, because we're talking about with players getting 3,000 hits, how many more 3,000 hit guys are we going to see compared to 3,000 Ks?
Yeah.
It's an interesting conversation overall. Yeah, I mean, looking at guys also didn't realize how many strikeouts that Scherzer had. Guy's a beast. But he's been pitching forever. Gosman, though, I think it's just going to be how long he wants to pitch, right? He's at 34 right now. He'll have to pitch. If he averages what he had 3 straight years of over 205 strikeouts from 21 to 23, 162 last year. So there was the drop. And he did start 31 games. He's going to have to do some serious work. He's going to have to pitch into his 40s, to have that chance. And it's a tall task. So we'll see. We'll see. New member, Kelly Ripken, back, friend of the show. Claims she'll be on the show at some point, and I know she will. Don't worry. I'm excited, terrified, because when she gets going, the banter that we're going to have, you might see a different
It's going to be
side.
incredible.
Oh, boy. It will be something. And without further ado, love you, Mom, by the way. Love you. And I will call you and text you after the show. Okay. And Laura, I'm up. Gifting 5 memberships. Put your hands up and
out. Or jump if you're Kevin.
Or jump if you're Kevin. Appreciate you, Laura. It's been a great show so far. And our last call-in of the day is a guy that really grateful he found us. We know he loves his Ravens. He's starting to love his Orioles as well. His Baltimore sports, and always is bringing that positive energy and vibe. And he's got a vibe today, Zach. Let's bring on British Raven, a.k.a. Nick. Hot damn.
Hot damn.
Hot damn. That is incredible. Hey, Nick, how we doing? How you feeling? I got to step up my game. You are putting me to shame. Where the hell's my hat?
I even brought wood.
Oh, you brought your wood too?
I have a snake wood.
Oh, I got a
Yeah.
bat. Hold on. I'll be back.
Hold on. You say bat? I also have bat.
Oh, he has the other bat.
I am the Grand Master of wood.
I love it. That Old Bay hat, man. Absolutely. I don't know what, Ryan. I just saw what he had. I just don't even.
You know what? I also have an Old Bay shirt, but unfortunately, if I wear that, it will look like that I've saran wrapped myself. So it's just not worth it.
I don't know what the hell Ryan just put on. This is quite the shot.
This is why they invented welfare calls.
Literally.
Everything in this video still right now is a cry for help.
Do I put this?
Look at it. Go deep,
Well,
Eddie.
I'm gonna break the ice and say nice cock, Ray.
Thank you.
Why has nobody else said that?
I think it's a great cock. Honestly, I threw Kyle off when I told him I named it after him. You know,
Kyle the cock.
I mean,
Kyle the cock.
He's a companion. He is. He really is.
Cockle doesn't really do it.
Yeah, no, but like that's the nickname, right? It's the nickname
Yeah.
for it. We were talking about what to have the alarm clock or something in the morning yesterday, Nick, and Zach was doing a Raven call, like a caw, but for like a rooster, it's like a cock-a-doodle-doo, like it's one of those.
Cock-a-doodle, wake the fuck up.
Or that too. Yeah,
That too.
Straight to the point.
Also, I didn't really notice the shirt and appreciate it. I love the shirt because the hat and the glasses, it peacocks, like you're peacocking with the hat and the shirt, but everything, the whole outfit is phenomenal. Amazing.
I mean, well, whilst you're off camera, I said to Zach that I also have the Old Bay shirt, but if I wore that, it would look like I saran wrapped myself. And this is a family-friendly stream largely, so we do not need a 300-pound mammoth of a very small man wrapped into a shirt that is about 16 sizes too small.
It would be something. Maybe we can save that for Rip After Dark here as we go with that. That could be, we could save it for the right time. Yeah. Well, talk to me. What else has been on your mind? Also, again, got to do my job. The Discord, I got to pimp that out. It's free.
Absolutely.
You are helping run that, which I appreciate greatly. And then also, like, we talk about all sports, and the two sports we talk about the most, right? Baseball and football. Football's right around the corner, 2 weeks away. Talked to Uncle John the other day. Maybe we'll get some words from him in the future. Just saying.
That'd be great.
I know you're excited for football season.
The helmet is freshly getting shined. It's almost time to pull the helmet off the shelf to appreciate once more the return of football.
You always have a way with words that I have to be careful sometimes where it goes, and I have to listen because sometimes it's just beautiful. Sometimes it's just a good sentence, and sometimes, like, holy hell, I'm falling over laughing. You never know what I'm going to get with you, Nick. You know that.
See that it's always the saying that life's like a box of chocolates. You never know which one you're going to get.
Mm-hmm.
And talking to me as we've learned over the last year. Unfortunately, I now have the Rocco head disappointment.
Yeah.
But yeah, you never know.
You just never know. You just never know. Well, what else, Nick, is on your mind as we are, or from across the pond?
Well, since you're holding a bat, I need to bring in my old cricket bat from high school days.
Okay, so timeout. That you used that in high school to play cricket? I don't think we've ever talked to someone that's played cricket in high school.
Yeah, imagine getting pelted by a ball that's probably twice the weight of a baseball. It's I've seen a guy die after getting hit on the head.
Oh God! I mean, I know.
Yeah,
I know the dangers of it, right?
Mm.
I've never been hit by a cricket ball. Never actually played cricket, to be honest.
Yeah, it hurts. It hurts an awful lot.
What?
It's fun.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's a fun game. It just takes a very long time if you play at the highest level in the test level. So England and India had a match the other week, and it lasted 4 days.
So can you explain why it lasts that long?
Well, I mean, there are shorter versions of the game, but this is the preeminent version of cricket. It's the longest and oldest form of it. So it's just how it was played back then, so they still play it that way now.
I'm learning. This is new to me, Zach. I didn't know that part. I'll be honest.
I didn't know that at all. Well, I knew that they took forever, but
yeah,
it's
unreal.
Incredible, 4 days.
That's just a short game. Also, it's lasted longer. It's gone into a 5th day many times in history.
Wow. Yeah, I think baseball longest game I ever played was like 17 innings. My dad actually, Nick, played in the longest game in professional baseball history is 33 innings, I believe. Played against the Pawtucket Red Sox. And that had to be stopped, and then they played it again another day or finished the game. But, that's that. Not 4 days, to say the least.
Yeah. I mean, baseball wouldn't work over 4 days. I think everybody would be incredibly tired. But the way cricket works, it just flows. You change your bowlers every inning or every over. You split the load and you work with it.
Damn right. Well, Nick, before we get close to wrapping it up here, any parting words we should have for this weekend?
Now, I'm going to say this. It may be considered treasonous, but I'm going to say that you all should have a great 4th of July.
That was very nice of you. Yeah. I'm glad we could get over that all those years later.
I mean, I personally wasn't there.
It depends on
Ryan
what you
was.
Yeah.
You can actually see the wrinkles forming on his head as we speak.
Damn. Okay, you know what?
It's almost like Downton Abbey. Bill Bailey, a very famous UK comedian, once said that if you watch Downton Abbey, you can actually see the moss form on the characters that are playing it. That's currently the case with Rip, I'm afraid.
Okay, so I understand the insult here. You're saying that I am aging quickly, is what you're saying, and I look like I look youthful.
If there's one thing that's true about us both, Rip, is that we're both aging like milk.
Well, I think it's the beard. With the
beard
what
makes
hair,
it easier.
Yeah, hair. Hey, you know what? The hair looks decent today.
Heck, look at my hairline. My hairline is about as far back as your age.
Yeah.
It's hanging on.
Nick, how old are you?
I am 30 years old.
Okay.
You guys
I'm
beat.
31, okay? I'm 31. All right? So point that out there.
You must have aged really horribly in the last year.
Damn. Oh, my. Okay, I thought. Who let this man in here? Zach?
I mean, you all shared the link.
Ropes. Timeout. I got to
You all
find
shared
a
the link.
photo of me now. Now I'm determined. Did you not see the photo of me the other day with Deep Eddie Dave? Now we struck a chord.
Oh,
Look what you've done.
how's the back
This
going?
was incredible. This was the best call we've had.
That's you like it because it's always it's all at me right now. You're loving
See,
this.
I can't say a bad word on Zach because Zach does DM me occasionally on Twitter and say thank you. But it
Thank
isn't
you.
about that.
There it is.
It's not about that. But Zach has won my appreciation in this moment.
Ouch.
Look at that. Look at that. People helping people.
That's exactly what this community is about.
Exactly. That's what it's all about.
Nick, that's just a hot pick right there.
No, that's what they call in the game an angle.
Okay, I just think that's a hot pick. Okay, I'll admit right now, yeah, a little rugged, working hard. I got to get ready for a workout here, because the debt has to be paid. But damn, I you know what? That looks good. It's all lighting in here. We got, you know what, Zach, we're going to have to work on the lighting. It's all the lighting. Well, Nick, thank you for the self-confidence boost today. I appreciate that. I will take that into the weekend. And
What a time.
Yeah. Now the whole hope you enjoy your fourth kind of seems fucked up.
Well, I'm going to elaborate on the hope you enjoy your fourth and say that throwing the tea in the harbor is perfectly okay, so long as it isn't Yorkshire tea.
All right.
If you throw
We have
any
guidelines
other tea
out.
in the harbor, fine by me. Yorkshire tea, I will raise a cricket bat to that. Do whatever you want with the shit tea. Don't care. Good tea, leave in the kitchen. Enjoy it over the weekend, and just know that the British actually did something good for America.
Well, Nick,
England.
you know what? That threw me off. I'll be honest, threw me off my game. But you know what? I'll take it as a sign of endearment because you know what? Roll with the punches because I know I'm going to look damn good. I can't wait to send another photo to you next time. Be like, bam, look at this lighting now, Nick. But in all seriousness, I appreciate you. Appreciate all the help. And I love the fact that you feel comfortable enough to shit talk me. It's all good with me. Zach, Rocco's learned a hard way. When Rocco likes to push his limits, don't poke the bear.
I think the important things to remember is if you're shit talking, it's humility. Now, if I was in that picture with you, I would look like Snorlax because that angle for me would be horrendous. The angle right now is pointing down. You cannot see any of my chins.
Hey, Nick, the thing is with all of it, all these things, got to have fun with it, right? People jab at me all the time. I thought that was great. Zach, now you might have just made his weekend with all the smiles and the looks like he's ducking down. But Zach, don't get any ideas. Okay?
Hey, I always get ideas.
Okay.
Let's face it.
Nick.
We don't need to talk trash on Zach because he makes his own jokes. Just look at him.
There it is. There it is.
Nick, appreciate you, man. This was a lot of fun. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll talk to you soon, okay?
Take it easy, guys, and enjoy your workout. I'm going to go and do nothing.
Perfect. Nick, from the top rope, man. You know what I love about our community?
Incredible.
Now, what I love about the community, we got a lot of different people. And we've talked about this before, right, Zach? A lot of different people from so many different backgrounds, from so many different places. And we appreciate all of them, and nothing's perfect, right? I'm not going to say anything's perfect or that everyone gets along or everything happens, right? But I want people to know, since we're around a holiday and we just reached the milestone, we appreciate each and every one of you for helping us get to where we want to go. And honestly, what that means, I don't know what the hell that means. But what I do know is we don't get there without your guys' support. So thank you for everything on this journey as we continue to get to 20,000. Next goal, or we're already at 20,000. The goal is to get to 50,000, then 100,000, and Zach jumps out of a plane.
Yeah, I mean, I actually texted Rocco about that, and he seemed a little bit more worried than I was. I was like, we're a fifth of the way there, and he's like, oh, shit. I was like, all right, we're good.
We are good. And I think we're good for today's show, Zach. I know we went a little bit longer for the call-ins, but appreciate the call-ins. We learned more about what the largest river is. Got stumped on some trivia. And we learned that it's good to make jokes. And I fought back 4 many years ago for the freedoms here in the United States. That's what we put together. And to close it all out, again, shout out Merit Clubs. This episode's brought to you by them. You got any other things that are on your mind or you want to check out their specials, go to meritclubs.com. And right now, free consultation available if you want to talk about workouts, wellness, trying to make things work quickly. You know, hell, that's actually the 10, 15-minute workout I'm going to do. And maybe I'll stream that for the Holy Shirts and Pants members if I'm feeling frisky. Appreciate them, but I'm going to put one more time for the one time. Sean's email. If you're interested, email him. It's a free consultation. You can just say, hey, I watched the Ryan Ripken show. I saw you said you want to help out with managing time. I'm busy. How can I do all of this? Blah, 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 blah. There's the email. That's all I got. Zach?
Ryan?
Do you have anything to add?
No, that's it. That's what I was like, Ryan, have a fantastic 4th, everyone. Have a fantastic 4th.
Okay, I gotta go cue the music over here because there's no one at the.
Yeah, go cue the music.
I'll go to your spot.
Yeah, go make your way over there. You see, he doesn't know. It's an art to cue on the music. I thought it was gonna cue by now. I hit the wrong one too, I bet.
Oh, hey, as always here at the Ryan Ripken Show. Appreciate each and every one of you. Have a day, have a night, have a great stinking weekend. Happy 4th of July. Be safe. Joey Chestnut's going to win another hot dog eating contest, and Zach Bollinger will be up next. See you guys.